the school beauty's personal bodyguard. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1076 Lin Yi's Suspicion. Lin Yi's act of getting out of his car and kicking it was also a test of the bald man in sunglasses. According to what Pengzhan Group and the fashionable young man had said, the first race was usually reserved for new drivers, but this bald man in sunglasses was clearly not a novice, but a veteran. His silence and lack of resistance made Lin Yi even more suspicious. Most people would express some degree of dissatisfaction after being kicked in the car, the difference simply being the amount of force involved. However, the bald man in sunglasses didn't even say a word, completely changing his usual thug image. Slow down. Slow down. He's really starting to slow down, Pengzhan Group exclaimed in surprise. Huh? Lin Yi simply smiled, his suspicions deepening. Another anomaly. With a bald man's driving skills, he shouldn't have slowed down here. This was only the first lap of the winding mountain road. It wasn't steep at all. As long as he held the steering wheel steady, even an ordinary driver would have no problem, let alone a drifting expert like the bald man in sunglasses. And he, of course, slowed down at that very moment. This somewhat obvious act was something only Lin Yi suspected. Pengzhan Group was so excited that it was hard for her to notice. Lin Yi was puzzled by what the bald man in sunglasses was up to. Was he just trying to cheat Pengzhan Group out of 200,000 yuan? Or did he have some other motive? If there was any other motive, Lin Yi couldn't believe it. Bringing Pengzhan Group along to race was completely accidental, unless this man had been observing Pengzhan Group or himself, waiting for an opportunity to strike. However, many seemingly accidental events were actually the result of a carefully planned enemy operation. Lin Yi remained vigilant. Regardless of whether the bald man in sunglasses had other intentions, he was already on guard against him. Slow down, it's up to you. A smile crossed Lin Yi's lips. He suddenly stepped on the accelerator. The Audi TT's engine roared, and Lin Yi and Pengzhan Group's car instantly shot forward. They were about to enter the winding mountain road, but instead of slowing down, Lin Yi accelerated. The crowd of spectators watching the race through binoculars exclaimed in surprise. While there was no need to slow down on the winding curve, no one had ever seen anyone accelerate at that speed. Wasn't that a desperate move? Pengzhan Group understood this. Although she'd watched others race before, she'd also run this route during practice, though back then it wasn't as intense as it was now. But Pengzhan Group also knew that you couldn't accelerate on the winding curve. Everyone else was accelerating on the straights, but Lin Yi was accelerating on the winding curve? What was going on? Lin Yi, husband, why are you accelerating? Pengzhan Group was startled. How can I pass him without accelerating? Lin Yi said calmly, not considering acceleration as anything special. After accelerating several times, Lin Yi's car instantly passed the Land Rover in front of him. Once on the winding curve, Lin Yi continued to accelerate. There was a sharp turn ahead, and Lin Yi kept accelerating. Ah! Pengzhan Group screamed, but it wasn't a scream of fear, it was a scream of excitement. This was the first time she'd accelerated around a sharp turn. Although it was extremely dangerous, she trusted Lin Yi, a blind trust. Of course, Pengzhan Group thought, even if she died, she could die with Lin Yi, and she would have no regrets in her life. If they could still be lovers in the afterlife, Pengzhan Group would be delighted. Damn, he's crazy. The bald man in sunglasses was shocked at the accelerating Audi TT. This guy was either a top-notch driver or a lunatic. How could he drive like that? Accelerating around a sharp turn? He didn't know how to spell death, did he? However, what happened next proved the bald man's first guess. Lin Yi was a top-notch driver. The Audi TT didn't slow down for the sharp turn, but instead spun it with a single, graceful movement. The entire move was seamless, no less impressive than the one the bald man in sunglasses had pulled off before the race. The bald man in sunglasses' face darkened. He hadn't expected the person Pengzhan Group had brought to the show to be such a skilled driver. This was a bit unexpected. Before, with a bald man in sunglasses' strength, he saw Pengzhan Group as nothing more than a weak prey, whose life and death rested in his hands. But now, things had gone beyond the bald man's imagination. The prey was no longer the prey. What had been a game of cat and mouse had become a dangerous contest. A sneer crossed the bald man's lips. No matter how skilled you were, driving an Audi TT meant you were doomed. The Audi TT was disproportionate to the massive Land Rover. If the bald man put up a hard fight, Lin Yi would undoubtedly suffer in the end. Seeing the Audi TT ahead still accelerating, the bald man in sunglasses also began to accelerate. He had underestimated his opponent and had originally planned to wait it out, but now he was being overtaken. The bald man in sunglasses also began to accelerate. Similarly, when he rounded the sharp bend in the mountain, he didn't slow down, but continued to accelerate. The bald man in sunglasses' actions once again shocked the men and women watching the race. They cheered and shouted. The originally insignificant first race had now become the most exciting competition. The audience below kept calling their friends who were not present, complaining that they had missed the most exciting scene. Drifting, and more drifting. The bald man in sunglasses continued to accelerate and drift. This caused the gap between the cars that had already widened to shrink rapidly. Lin Yi frowned. It seemed that he had underestimated his opponent's strength. Although Lin Yi was not a professional racing driver, Lin Yi had undergone rigorous training. If he participated in a world-class competition, he would definitely be able to win a place. This kind of strength was enough to be proud of in the underground racing field. However, the bald man in sunglasses seemed to be an exception. Lin Yi soon realized that the bald man in sunglasses was definitely not inferior to his own strength. This level of racing was only achieved by professional racers or assassins who had undergone rigorous training like him. A hint of worry crossed Lin Yi's eyes. If Pengzhan Group hadn't been in the car, Lin Yi could have fought him to the death. But now, relying solely on strength to win was impossible. With the same technical strength, the difference was in the car. From the perspective of displacement alone, the opponent's car had an absolute advantage over Lin Yi. Chapter 1077, Put to Death. Seeing the Land Rover behind him getting closer and closer, Lin Yi sighed softly. It seemed like he had no choice but to give up this race. Otherwise, the consequences would be dire. However, even though Lin Yi wanted to give up, the Land Rover behind him showed no sign of letting him go. It continued to accelerate, accelerating, like a wild horse running wild, rushing towards Lin Yi from behind. Lin Yi, husband, he's catching up, what should we do, what should we do? Pengzhan Group was also frightened when she saw the Land Rover rushing towards her from behind. Lin Yi frowned, and hurriedly shook Pengzhan Group's hand. He swerved the steering wheel and pulled the Audi TT against the side of the mountain, clearing a path for the Land Rover. Given the Land Rover's current posture, if Lin Yi didn't dodge or evade, he would definitely be hit, even knocked off the ravine. This guy was driving like a fool. Or perhaps, he simply wanted to do so. What's wrong? Seeing Lin Yi pull over, Pengzhan Group was stunned, somewhat confused by Lin Yi's intention. There's something wrong with the car behind us. I wonder if it's my enemy. Despite facing danger, Lin Yi remained calm. Of course, Lin Yi now believed that the bald man in sunglasses was his enemy, not Pengzhan Group. He felt that he had implicated Pengzhan Group, as all the enemies from Songshan City had been targeting Lin Yi. Huh? Pengzhan Group was startled, and instinctively cried out in surprise. Looking behind her, she saw Land Rover ramming into her car. Lin Yi, of course, saw this in the rearview mirror as well. He floored the accelerator, and the Audi TT shot out again. However, even then, the Land Rover still struck the rear of the car hard. Bang! With a loud bang, Lin Yi knew the rear of the Audi TT was severely damaged. It seemed his suspicion was correct. The bald man in sunglasses wasn't really after the car, but his life. Turn around, hold me tight with both hands, don't let go, Lin Yi hurriedly ordered Pengzhan Group. Oh, okay, for some reason, Pengzhan Group didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. There were villains chasing her from behind, but she wasn't afraid at all. It was like she was in a thrilling blockbuster movie. Especially with Lin Yi around, Pengzhan Group felt even more at ease. This would be a rare experience in her life. Going through a life-or-death adventure with the one she loved was something many couples dreamed of. So, Pengzhan Group felt a little grateful to the bald man in sunglasses, though of course, that was assuming they could survive this dangerous situation. Pengzhan Group handed the steering wheel to Lin Yi and turned her body, going from leaning against him to hugging him. Pengzhan Group's figure was already petite, so even with the limited space, it wasn't a problem for her. Just the softness of her leaning against him made Lin Yi's blood boil, especially with Pengzhan Group sitting astride him, which made him feel even more excited. Pengzhan Group felt the same way. If she could, she really wanted to do it. In Pengzhan Group's mind, now that she had already decided on Lin Yi, whether he was good or bad, it didn't matter to her. Her physical condition prevented her from hesitating and looking back. Once she'd made up her mind, she had to act quickly. Otherwise, she might die before even enjoying the feeling of love. Would that be a huge loss? Pengzhan Group's attitude towards Lin Yi was based on this mentality. So, she lost her womanly reserve and didn't care about being shy. Once she'd made up her mind, she had to act quickly. Bang! The Land Rover slammed into him again. Lin Yi frowned. In this situation, he couldn't perform at his best. He couldn't drift around the corners anymore. If he was drifting and got hit by the Land Rover, it would undoubtedly be a fatal accident. So, Lin Yi could only take normal measures when going around the corners, slowing down and turning. Even so, he was still hit by the Land Rover and almost lost control. Ah! Pengzhan Group screamed. The violent tremors made her extremely nervous. Lin Yi, my husband, what should we do? Although Lin Yi was driving, he was actually thinking about his response. If Pengzhan Group hadn't been there, Lin Yi could have easily stopped the car and attacked the Land Rover directly. Although a Zhuan-level expert wasn't invulnerable, with the protection of his ki, he could still withstand such a car impact. Lin Yi was fully confident that he could kick the Land Rover into the ravine. But with Pengzhan Group around, Lin Yi couldn't leave her alone in the car. That would be too dangerous. If he jumped out of the car with Pengzhan Group in his arms, Lin Yi would have to prioritize his ki for her, and attacking the Land Rover would be impossible. As Lin Yi was thinking, the Land Rover rammed into him again with a bang! The other party was clearly coming for him. Even if Lin Yi dodged, it would be useless. He might even hide in the ravine. Ah, my car! Pengzhan Group looked at the spiderweb-like rear windshield and felt a pang of distress. How could this guy mess up his beloved car like this? Another sharp turn, only this one was tighter than the previous ones. Looking at the Land Rover chasing him from behind, Lin Yi's heart sank. On this turn, if nothing unexpected happened, his car would definitely be pushed out by the Land Rover. Hold me and don't move. Lin Yi silently activated the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue. In this situation, if Pengzhan Group was injured, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, Lin Yi had to ensure that if Pengzhan Group was injured, she could absorb his true energy in time to repair her injuries. And Lin Yi also made a bold decision. Pengzhan Group seemed to realize the urgency of the situation and hurriedly hugged Lin Yi tightly, like a sloth, almost completely pressing her body against Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi naturally had no intention of enjoying the pleasure brought by Pengzhan Group's soft body. Instead, after turning the corner, he slammed on the brakes, using the resistance of the mountain wall to quickly stop the car. The bald man had been waiting for this opportunity. Undoubtedly, the curve ahead was the best place to solve the problem. Seeing Lin Yi stop, a mocking smile crossed the bald man's lips. In this situation, stopping or not would result in death. Could he still hope that the weight of his car could withstand his impact? The bald man suddenly stepped on the accelerator. Even if the Audi TT stopped, he was confident that he could drive it directly into the mountain stream. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1078, A Heavy Promise. However, just as the Land Rover was about to hit the Audi TT, Lin Yi released the brakes, and the Audi TT slid forward again. This gave the Land Rover driver an illusion. Because the Audi TT's taillights had all been shattered by the Land Rover, the bald man in sunglasses thought Lin Yi's car hadn't moved. In reality, Lin Yi's car was slowly sliding forward, sliding down the mountain stream. It was just too slow, and the bald man in sunglasses didn't notice it at all. All this happened in the time of the fire, and Lin Yi just created a visual error. So, when the Land Rover hit the Audi TT was almost rushing down the mountain stream. Lin Yi stepped on the accelerator, and the Audi TT shot out directly, rushing down the mountain stream. The Land Rover behind was obviously unaware of the danger and kept stepping on the accelerator, trying to push Lin Yi's car down. As a result, the Audi TT flew down. By the time the bald man in sunglasses realized something was wrong, the two front wheels had already left the winding mountain road. It was too late for him to react, so his car went flying down the mountain road with it. Ah! Pengzhan screamed, and the Audi TT plunged into the mountain stream. After several tumbles, although all the airbags deployed, if it weren't for Lin Yi's true key protecting Pengzhan, both of them would have been almost certain death. After such a violent tumble, the car had completely deformed its shape, and any safety measures would have been ineffective. Moreover, the car was already on fire, and if they didn't jump out quickly, they would be in even greater danger. Ignoring Pengzhan's screams, Lin Yi directly ruptured the airbag, kicked open the car door, and hugged Pengzhan, and jumped out of the air. Huh? Lin Yi patted Pengzhan on the back, breathed a sigh of relief, and smiled. It's okay, Xiaoxio, it's okay. Pengzhan opened her eyes. She'd thought she was dying before, so she was still a little confused. Lin Yi, husband, are we already dead? No, Lin Yi said with a smile. I won't let you die, really? Pengzhan was stunned, then thought of her physical condition, and a sense of sadness returned. Lin Yi seemed to sense Pengzhan's sadness, sighed slightly, nodded, and said, really, it was a heavy promise, and Lin Yi seemed to be bragging a bit, but he really didn't want Pengzhan to die. Unconsciously, he had truly fallen in love with this quirky girl. If possible, Lin Yi wanted to spend his life with her, but it was just a beautiful illusion. Hook. Pengzhan extended her hand, as if trying to prove something. Lin Yi's somewhat stubborn behavior made her heart even heavier. It seemed that Pengzhan was deceiving herself, using this psychological trickery to defy the injustice of fate. Okay, Lin Yi extended his little finger and shook it with Pengzhan's, who looked a little happy. After a long while, she came back to her senses and exclaimed, it was so exciting that we didn't die. Husband Lin Yi, you are so great. The feeling just now was like bungee jumping. It was like being in the moment of life and death. Your car. Lin Yi pointed to the Far East Tone Audi TT that had caught fire and exploded. By the way, where's that Land Rover man? He is so wicked that he dared to crash my car like this? I want to dig out his eyeballs and use them as saws. Husband Lin Yi, come and help me. Pengzhan was furious when she saw her car turned into a ball of fire. This is the car that she bought with her pocket money saved for several years, and it was scrapped like this? Looking at the Land Rover falling in the distance, Lin Yi sighed slightly, thinking that the bald man with sunglasses was lucky. Although the Land Rover also rushed out of the winding mountain road, it was blocked by the Audi TT in front, so that it finally fell on the winding mountain road below and did not rush out of the mountain stream. Over there, I'll take you to find him to compensate for the car. Lin Yi pointed to a deformed Land Rover on the winding mountain road. The bald man with sunglasses had been struggling to protect himself before, so naturally he didn't see Lin Yi and Pengzhan jumping out of the car. When he stopped steadily on the winding mountain road on the next level, the bald man with sunglasses couldn't help but burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, God really won't let me go. The little bastard is quite cunning, actually playing tricks, wanting to die with me. It's not that easy. The bald man with sunglasses got out of the car and looked at the exploded Audi TT at the bottom of the mountain stream. He felt very happy. He took out his mobile phone and quickly sent a video to a number. This was the moment when the Audi TT was pushed down the mountain stream, and the video of the Audi TT exploding and burning that had just been recorded. Not long after the text message was sent, a rapid phone call rang. Sure enough, the person who received the video couldn't wait to call back. Hello, the bald man with sunglasses answered the phone with a sneer. Longfeng? I guess you have received the video I sent you? Who are you? How is Xiaoxio? Feng Xianlong asked hurriedly. Longfeng was Feng Xianlong's code name for carrying out tasks in the organization. It seemed that the other party knew him well enough. While he was on the phone, he waved to his subordinate, indicating him to check the specific location of the caller. The current widespread application of a GPS can accurately locate the location of the call through the connection between the mobile phone number and the base station. After Feng Xianlong received the video, he called Pengzhan, but the phone was turned off. He called Lin Yi again, but it was still turned off. In order to ensure that they would not be disturbed during the game, both of them turned off their phones temporarily. They did not expect Feng Xianlong to call at this time. Seeing the video, his daughter's car was pushed down the mountain stream, exploded and burned into ruins. Feng Xianlong's heart tightened. Although his daughter's life will not last long, Feng Xianlong will do everything he can to let his daughter live for one more day. Feng Xianlong's first reaction was that it was his opponent who did this. After all, the identity of the person who sent the video must be more than that if he could send this video to Feng Xianlong's mobile phone. Who am I? Feng Xianlong, don't you know? Ho ha, my eldest brother died in your hands. This time, I'll let you have a taste of the feeling of losing a loved one. Haha, the bald man in sunglasses laughed cruelly. How is it? The video is very clear, right? With a bang, your daughter is dead. It's so cool. If you come over now, you can probably see some ashes. In a while, even the ashes will be burned. Are you from the Red Conch? Feng Xianlong guessed the other party's identity after a slight hesitation. Chapter 1079. Aren't you dead? Long Feng, it seems you're not stupid. I'm telling you, this is just a warning. If you and your organization continue to oppose us, Red Conch, don't blame us for even more severe retaliation, the bald man with sunglasses sneered and warned. You're the second in command of Red Conch, right? Although Feng Xianlong's heart ached, his willpower was unmatched by that of an ordinary person. So, while stalling for time with the bald man with sunglasses, Feng Xianlong gestured to his men to arrest them. Li Yifan, Feng Xianlong's longtime subordinate, naturally understood what he meant. After finding the bald man's location, he began issuing commands on the computer, mobilizing his men. Feng Xianlong, are you trying to buy time with me, right? So you can wait for your men to arrest me. The bald man with sunglasses was no fool either. He knew all of Feng Xianlong's tactics well. Now that his daughter was dead, Feng Xianlong could still speak to him so calmly. Obviously, there was something wrong. HMPH, Feng Xianlong, his thoughts exposed by the bald man in sunglasses, snorted coldly and said lightly, Second in command, listen carefully. If I don't uproot your organization, I won't be Feng Xianlong. I will fight you for the rest of my life. With his daughter dead, Feng Xianlong no longer had any worries. He had made up his mind to fight the Red Conch for the rest of his life and would not stop until he wiped them out. Haha, then you can continue to dream. I dared to call you with an ordinary phone, so I must have a backup plan. The bald man in sunglasses laughed. Did you hear that? The sound of a helicopter. I'm leaving, it's all in vain, you? Feng Xianlong's expression froze, and he couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Yes, who is the second in command of the Red Conch? He's the second in command of an international criminal gang. How could he not have a backup plan? The helicopter had already lowered its ladder. The bald man in sunglasses said sarcastically into the phone, Feng Xianlong, are you flying over here? You really want to masturbate now? Ha ha ha, but you can't, la la la. The bald man in sunglasses wanted to piss Feng Xianlong off to death. His eldest brother, the leader of the Red Conch, had died at Feng Xianlong's hands. This was why he, the second in command of such a prestigious organization, had personally come to deal with Feng Xiaoxiao. He would never be satisfied unless he personally killed Feng Xianlong's family. The hatred for killing a brother is irreconcilable. HMPH, although Feng Xianlong was angry, he could only sneer. But the next moment, something horrified the bald man in sunglasses. He was about to say a few more angry words when he heard a loud bang. The helicopter, which had been circling in the sky, suddenly, like a kite with a broken string, whoosh plunged into the ravine. Then, with another loud boom, the helicopter crashed into the mountain stream and exploded. Huh? The bald man with sunglasses suddenly widened his eyes, pointing at the direction where the plane fell, speechless. Lin Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao had already arrived near the bald man with sunglasses, but Lin Yi did not rush forward. Instead, he wanted to listen to what he was calling about, so as to find out the purpose and details of the bald man with sunglasses. But what Lin Yi did not expect was that he actually called Feng Xianlong. In other words, the target of this conspiracy was Feng Xiaoxiao, not Lin Yi. Thinking of this, Lin Yi secretly felt lucky. If he had not been racing with Feng Xiaoxiao, who knows what trouble would have happened. Fortunately, Feng Xiaoxiao was now by his side without any problem. However, after the bald man with sunglasses said a few words, A helicopter flew over from a distance, obviously wanting to pick up the bald man with sunglasses, so Lin Yi directly picked up a guardrail from the side of the winding mountain road and smashed it towards the propeller on the helicopter. Of course, if an ordinary person threw a projectile, even if it hit the helicopter's propeller, it wouldn't damage it. After all, the guardrail was insignificant compared to the propeller. But Lin Yi had added some energy bombs made from compressed ki to the guardrail, and the helicopter's propeller was directly destroyed by Lin Yi's energy bomb. Holy crap! Lin Yi, you're such a master at masturbating. Pengzhan Xiao's eyes widened, looking at Lin Yi with admiration. Lin Yi, can you teach me how to masturbate? Lin Yi broke into a sweat after hearing Pengzhan Xiao's words. Pengzhan Xiao's suggestion was a bit too evil, wasn't it? Pengzhan Xiao was slightly taken aback by the strange expression on Lin Yi's face, but then she understood why Lin Yi was so angry. He had clearly misunderstood her earlier words. I'm talking about masturbating a real plane, not the kind that I can do. I don't need to be taught, Pengzhan Xiao explained quickly. You can. Lin Yi's eyes widened even more. Had Pengzhan Xiao tried it before? There's a video online. I'll watch it and try it out on my boyfriend later. Pengzhan Xiao was always the more daring person when she was with Lin Yi. You want to try it? Okay, let's try it out when we have the chance. Now, let's ask that bald guy to compensate us for the car. Lin Yi almost succumbed to the temptation. But in this place, wouldn't succumbing to temptation be tantamount to seeking death? What do you mean? Xuanyuan Yulong asked, perplexed, after hearing the bald man in sunglasses make a click sound. But at that moment, the bald man in sunglasses couldn't pay attention to Xuanyuan Yulong's call. He screamed in shock, Who shot down my plane? The next moment, Lin Yi, carrying Pengzhan Xiao, jumped up and stood in front of the bald man in sunglasses. Are you looking for me? Lin Yi asked with a smile, observing the bald man's exasperated expression. The bald man in sunglasses was worried. With his plane gone, how would he escape? If he drove, he'd probably run into Xuanyuan Yulong's men just as he got down the mountain. He was at a loss as to what to do, when two people suddenly appeared and stood before him. Wouldn't he be startled? However, when the bald man with sunglasses saw the two people clearly, he was even more shocked. He pointed at Lin Yi and Pengzhan Xiao in horror. Aren't you all dead? You are the one who died. Your whole family is dead. Pengzhan Xiao was a little sensitive to the word death, so when the bald man with sunglasses opened his mouth, Pengzhan Xiao was so angry that she fought back. The bald man with sunglasses was also a powerful man. His previous shock was also because he suddenly saw that Lin Yi and Pengzhan Xiao were not dead. In addition, the plane was shot down by a UFO, so he was a little nervous. But now, Pengzhan Xiao and Lin Yi were standing before him intact, so of course they were not dead. Chapter 1080 Hate to the Bone. You saved her. The bald man with sunglasses glanced at Lin Yi. As the second in command of an international criminal organization, he naturally had some cultivators under his command. Although he himself was not a cultivator, the third in command of the organization, that is, his third brother, was a cultivator. Thinking of Lin Yi's previous behavior of kicking the car, and thinking about the helicopter being shot down, the bald man with sunglasses was almost certain that Lin Yi should also be a cultivator. The bald man with sunglasses felt a little regretful. He had underestimated Lin Yi. He didn't expect that Pengzhan Xiao actually had a cultivator bodyguard around her. Was he sent by Xuanyuan Yulong to protect her? Pay for the car, and you can live. Lin Yi was too lazy to answer the question of the bald man with sunglasses. The bald man with sunglasses was stunned. He didn't expect that the first condition Lin Yi asked him to give was to pay for the car. What? The car was damaged by you. Pay for it quickly, Lin Yi said lightly. The bald man with sunglasses was holding his breath. Before, it seemed to him that Pengzhan Xiao was already dead. But now, not only was she not dead, she was actually here to ask him to compensate for her car. Hello? Pengzhan Yulong, on the other end of the line, could hear that things seemed to be turning around. Lin Yi's voice seemed to be coming from the other end, and it seemed that his daughter was not dead. From what the bald man with sunglasses said, it seemed that Lin Yi had saved her. So, Pengzhan Yulong suddenly became anxious. He kept calling on the phone, wanting to know the latest situation. What are you yelling about? Hello, your mother. The bald man with sunglasses was almost furious. Feng Xianlong's constant calling on the phone really upset him. Cut the crap. Are you going to compensate for the car or not? You crashed my wife's car. If you don't want to die, say something. Lin Yi frowned. If this man's background wasn't suspicious, Lin Yi would have kicked him into the ravine long ago. Feng Xiaoxiao's eyebrows suddenly lit up when she heard Lin Yi say my wife's car. Lin Yi had never called her such an intimate name before. Unexpectedly, in this situation, Lin Yi actually spoke the truth. Feng Xiaoxiao's eyes narrowed into crescents, but she didn't think that the bald man with sunglasses was so hateful. If it weren't for him, Lin Yi wouldn't call her wife, so Feng Xiaoxiao thought that the bald man with sunglasses was a good person. If the Audi TT could speak, it would probably cry loudly and angrily scold Feng Xiaoxiao for being a slut who abandoned her beloved car after getting a man. She actually thought that the murderer of her beloved car was good. Husband Lin Yi, although the appearance of his Land Rover is a little damaged, it seems that there is nothing wrong with it inside. Why don't we drive this car away? I'll find a place to repair it and it will be brand new. Feng Xiaoxiao coveted the Land Rover Discovery IV of the bald man with sunglasses. So she planned to take it for herself. Oh, that's fine, Lin Yi thought so too, but it was probably not realistic to ask the bald man with sunglasses to pay for the car, so he gave up the plan. However, Lin Yi wasn't about to let this guy go unless he paid for the car. So, he snatched the phone from the bald man in sunglasses and asked, Uncle Feng, it's me, Lin Yi. Feng Xianlong's voice was quite cheerful at the moment. He had heard his daughter's voice on the phone earlier, and he thought she was fine. Feng Xianlong breathed a sigh of relief, and secretly felt happy. It sounded like Lin Yi and Xiaoxiao had a really good relationship. Lin Yi even called Xiaoxiao wife, and Xiaoxiao called Lin Yi husband, so, he shouldn't be having a grandchild soon, right? Uncle Feng, it seems this guy is coming for Xiaoxiao. Will you send someone to take him away? Lin Yi asked. Okay, my guy Li Yifeng is already there. He's my driver, you've met him, Feng Xianlong said quickly. Oh, by the way, I just shot down their helicopter. Have someone clean it up. I guess everyone on board died, Lin Yi said. Huh? Feng Xianlong's eyes widened at Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi shot down the helicopter? How did he do it? Lin Yi shouldn't have a gun in his hand, right? Even if he did, could an ordinary pistol shoot down a plane? Is this a joke? How did you do it? Feng Xianlong was shocked. What did you use to shoot it? The guardrail on the winding mountain road, Lin Yi said lightly. Feng Xianlong couldn't believe it was true, but he also knew that Lin Yi would never lie to him about such a thing, so he could only believe Lin Yi's words. Now was not the time to doubt. He quickly said, Lin Yi, keep Xiaoxiao safe. I'll be there soon. Oh, okay, Lin Yi nodded. The bald man with sunglasses hated Lin Yi even more this time. Lin Yi actually shot down the plane? And he used the guardrail on the winding mountain road? Is he still human? Let me leave, otherwise, the red kink will not let you go. The bald man with sunglasses knew Lin Yi's strength and gave up the idea of confronting Lin Yi head-on. He had originally planned to wait for an opportunity to control Feng Xiaoxiao and use it to threaten Lin Yi and Feng Xianlong, but when he heard that Lin Yi shot down the plane with his bare hands, the bald man with sunglasses decisively gave up this plan. That would undoubtedly be tantamount to seeking death. In front of Lin Yi, he gave up all the tricks and just negotiated with Lin Yi in a threatening tone. Red conch. A hint of disdain crossed Lin Yi's lips. Although I don't know what it is, it's best not to mess with me, otherwise you'll be wiped out. The bald man with sunglasses was almost furious at Lin Yi's arrogance. The Red Kink is one of the international criminal gangs with a huge influence. Although you, Lin Yi, are also a cultivator, we also have cultivators. Frog in the well. However, the bald man with sunglasses really had no temper towards Lin Yi. In his eyes, Lin Yi was obviously a tiger-like existence. Masturbating with bare hands was something that most people could not do. Without saying anything, the bald man with sunglasses admitted defeat this time and stopped resisting in vain, waiting for Feng Xianlong's men to come and take him away. For him, being caught was nothing. As the second in command of an international criminal organization, he had been arrested by police around the world, but later, he successfully escaped. Even if he hadn't escaped, the local police were forced to release him due to the terrorist activities of the Red Conch organization. So he was confident that he would regain his freedom after falling into Pengzhan Long's hands. As long as he was not killed on the spot, there would be no problem. As long as there is green mountains, there is no fear of lack of firewood. Chapter 1081. Do you know my father? At the foot of Baling Mountain, the men and women watching were completely bewildered as to what was happening. They were still stunned by the Land Rover's recklessness, attempting to knock the Audi TT off the cliff, when the two vehicles suddenly spun off the winding mountain road. Just as they were horrified to believe the man and woman in the Audi TT were doomed, Lin Yi miraculously jumped out, safely escaping with Pengzhan. They watched in disbelief as a helicopter appeared in the sky, only to inexplicably plunge into the mountain stream and explode. No one down the mountain could clearly see that it was Lin Yi who had shot the helicopter down. It was too far away, and his movements were so fast. What on earth was going on? Was this the filming of a foreign action movie? Everything before them was something they had only seen on TV, but now it was happening right before their eyes. It was truly spectacular, truly spectacular. Those recording with cameras were thrilled, wanting to post the scene online when they got home, but their good intentions were impossible to achieve. Li Yifeng and the criminal police team cordoned off the open space at the foot of the mountain. All spectators were temporarily detained for police inspection. All cameras, camcorders, and cell phones were carefully checked, and those with video or photos were shredded and deleted on the spot by professional technicians. Pengzhan arrived shortly afterward and drove with Li Yifeng up the winding mountain road, stopping next to the wrecked Land Rover. Before Li Yifeng's car had even come to a complete stop, Pengzhan quickly jumped out. He glanced at his lively daughter and breathed a sigh of relief. "Xiaoxio, are you okay?" "Of course I'm okay." Xiaoxio proudly hugged Lin Yi's arm, saying, "Thank you, my husband, Lin Yi, for protecting me. Even the car exploded, and I'm still okay, Lin Yi, thank you." Pengzhan took a deep breath and spoke sincerely to Lin Yi. Today's events had truly terrified Pengzhan. He thought he would never see his daughter again, but Lin Yi lived up to his trust and kept her safe and sound. Pengzhan once again felt the wisdom of his original decision. Only Lin Yi could be his daughter's boyfriend, the one who could protect her. "Second master, come with us." Although Pengzhan wanted to tear the bald man in sunglasses into pieces, his status wouldn't allow him to do so. The only fate awaiting him was legal punishment. Li Yifeng was also an internal martial arts expert, albeit only at the yellow rank, but he was more than capable of dealing with a bald man in sunglasses. He approached, restrained him, and forced him into the car. "Uncle Feng, if there's nothing else, Xiaoxio and I will be leaving first." Lin Yi didn't want to get too involved in Pengzhan's affairs. Now that he had settled into a quiet life, he naturally wanted to make a clear break from his former life. "Okay, this time, Pengzhan, owe you a huge favor." Pengzhan nodded, solemnly stating, "Oh, Uncle Feng, that's polite. Xiaoxio is my girlfriend, and I won't let her get hurt." Lin Yi smiled and shook his head. "Oh," Pengzhan was slightly stunned, and then a trace of joy flashed across his eyes. It can be seen that Lin Yi seems to have really fallen in love with Xiaoxio, and not the so-called pretend boyfriend before. This made Pengzhan very pleased. Letting Lin Yi pretend to be Xiaoxio's boyfriend to deceive Xiaoxio was also a last resort. After all, his daughter's time is running out, and Pengzhan has no way to force Lin Yi to fall in love with Xiaoxio. However, it would be great if Lin Yi could fall in love with Xiaoxio. Pengzhan was also afraid that Xiaoxio would see through his pretense. In this way, if Lin Yi also fell in love with Xiaoxio, the relationship between the two would probably advance by leaps and bounds. Thinking of this, Pengzhan nodded with satisfaction. "Okay, Lin Yi, then you take Xiaoxio back. I will treat you to dinner another day and talk to you again. But I'm busy recently, I'm afraid I don't have time." "It doesn't matter, Uncle Feng, go and do your work." Lin Yi nodded. Pengzhan got in the car, and Li Yifeng drove off. Lin Yi and Xiaoxio got into the Land Rover and followed Li Yifeng's car. "Lin Yi, you know my dad," Xiaoxio, no fool, noticed something was amiss. Last time, her father had said he wanted to meet Lin Yi, but later Lin Yi said they hadn't met yet. But today, it seemed as if Lin Yi and her father were very familiar with each other, which made Xiaoxio very curious. Actually, Uncle Feng and I have known each other for a long time. Lin Yi didn't hide it from Feng Xiaoxiao. Oh? You've known each other for a long time. Feng Xiaoxiao was stunned and looked at Lin Yi strangely. Really? Your father and I were once comrades in arms. I assisted them on missions. Lin Yi smiled. So, that's why I was so surprised when you first told me in Yanjing that Uncle Feng wanted to see me. Oh? If that's the case, then why were you so nervous before? Feng Xiaoxiao was puzzled. Since Lin Yi knew her father, then all her threats should be useless. It's precisely because we know each other that I'm more nervous. Your father and I were comrades in arms, but I'm his daughter's boyfriend. What a weird generational relationship, Lin Yi said with a wry smile. Haha, Feng Xiaoxiao laughed immediately after hearing what Lin Yi said. It turned out that this was what Lin Yi was worried about at the beginning. However, after laughing, Feng Xiaoxiao asked in a somewhat strange way, then why didn't you tell me before? Before, our relationship was not confirmed. Why should I tell you so much? Lin Yi said as a matter of course. However, Feng Xiaoxiao was very happy when Lin Yi said this. Lin Yi's meaning was very clear, that is, the relationship between the two is closer now, so Lin Yi said it out. Then my father didn't contact you afterwards. Feng Xiaoxiao was a little worried that her father would tell Lin Yi about his illness. What did you say? He called a few times, but didn't say anything. He's been very busy recently. It seems that he is in charge of some case, Lin Yi said very easily. Oh, Feng Xiaoxiao nodded with relief, and then said, I really didn't expect that you and Dad were comrades in arms. No wonder you are so awesome. Today's race was a failure. You didn't get to experience the sense of honor of a racer's victory. It was a bit of a letdown. Lin Yi didn't want to talk too much about the past and the things between Feng Xianlong and himself. Although Lin Yi was a tight-lipped person, he would make mistakes if he spoke too much. Lin Yi didn't want to arouse Feng Xiaoxiao's suspicion, so he took the initiative to change the subject. Chapter 1082 Regretful Feng Xiaoxiao. No, I had a blast. This was the most meaningful race of my life. It allowed me to experience a life-or-death adventure with a person I love most. It's truly rare. Feng Xiaoxiao shook her head and said solemnly, this is the most precious memory of my life. When I die, I won't have any regrets when I look back on it. Huh? Lin Yi knew Feng Xiaoxiao was telling the truth, but he didn't know what to say. He could only say, let's race again sometime, but not right away. Yeah, we made a splash today. A lot of people know us. Feng Xiaoxiao was smart. She understood the reason the moment Lin Yi mentioned it. The price difference between the Land Rover Discovery 4 and the Audi TT wasn't that big, just double the price. Driving them in the city would be a bit fuel efficient. So, after all the calculations, Lin Yi didn't think this deal was a good one. Of course, Feng Xiaoxiao was happy, so it didn't matter. It was just that the license plate number 2B941 was a bit awkward. Lin Yi didn't want to drive around with it, so he could ask Song Xiaoniu to change it. After descending the winding mountain road, Lin Yi spotted Song Lingshan, but he didn't greet her. Instead, he drove away. Lin Yi didn't want to show up here just yet. It's getting late, let's go home, Lin Yi asked as he drove. Yes, Feng Xiaoxiao nodded. Although everything that had happened today had been thrilling and exciting, she was exhausted both physically and mentally, and she wanted to rest early. Lin Yi drove the Land Rover to the 4S dealership, then took a taxi to Feng Xiaoxiao's residential complex. He drove the Beetle that had been parked there. On the way, Lin Yi called Tang Yun. Yunayan, where are you? Lin Yi asked. I'm back at the hospital. Have you and Xiaoxiao finished the car race? Tang Yun asked. Yeah, it's done. I've already sent Xiaoxiao home. Lin Yi didn't want to worry Tang Yun, so he didn't mention what had happened. Instead, he asked, how did you get back? Chu Mengyao asked me out, and we left together, Tang Yun replied. Lin Yi found it odd. It seemed that because of Feng Xiaoxiao's matter, the eldest daughter and Chen Yashu had surprisingly formed an alliance with Tang Yun, making way for everything else. After finishing his call with Tang Yun, Lin Yi drove straight back to the villa. As usual, the eldest daughter and Chen Yashu were sitting in the living room watching TV. When they saw Lin Yi return, they simply glanced up and continued watching. In the past, whenever Lin Yi came home late, the eldest daughter and Xiaoshu would express their displeasure to some degree, but now, because of Feng Xiaoxiao's matter, they maintained a forgiving attitude. Lin Yi thought that the eldest daughter and Xiaoshu were actually kind-hearted people, none of the arrogance and greed that many rich girls have. Lin Yi had gone through a lot today and was covered in dust. After returning to his room, he took a quick hot shower to calm himself down. Today's events were not directed at him, but at Feng Xiaoxiao, which surprised Lin Yi. However, the bald man with sunglasses was obviously an ordinary person, far different from Lin Yi, so he was not a big deal. It was better to leave this kind of thing to Feng Xianlong. Not long after, Lin Yi's phone rang. Lin Yi picked it up and saw that it was Song Lingshan calling. Hello, Lin Yi answered the phone. Lin Yi, was today's events caused by you? Song Lingshan asked directly. Are you here to interrogate me? Lin Yi frowned. Of course not. Song Lingshan's heart tightened at Lin Yi's somewhat hostile tone, and she quickly said, Lin Yi, don't be angry. I'm just concerned for you, little idiot. Song Lingshan's tone had been somewhat annoyed because Lin Yi, despite being present, hadn't shown up. This had left Song Lingshan feeling somewhat frustrated, as if Lin Yi was deliberately avoiding her. She had wanted to call and ask. However, Lin Yi had become displeased after just one question, and Song Lingshan had to change her words even more aggrievedly. She was afraid Lin Yi would be upset and cancel the appointment tomorrow. Today's events aren't suitable for me to show up, Lin Yi explained calmly. Song Lingshan was slightly taken aback, then understood what Lin Yi meant. Lin Yi had always been a low-key person. He had done so much before, yet he ultimately gave her the credit, which was a testament to that. Well, are you okay? We can't interfere with what happened today, and we don't know the inside story. Song Lingshan breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that Lin Yi wasn't angry. Nothing, Lin Yi shook his head. Is that what you're looking for? Not really, I just wanted to ask if you could come see me tomorrow, Song Lingshan asked. You? Lin Yi was stunned. Yes, to help me improve my skills. Song Lingshan felt both ashamed and angry. Lin Yi had actually forgotten about this? Seriously? How could she be so unimportant in his eyes? It seemed like the silly girl still needed to keep working hard. Oh, about that, Lin Yi suddenly remembered his promise to Song Lingshan to visit her house this weekend to help her improve her skills. These past few days, Lin Yi had been so preoccupied with taking Feng Xiaoxiao racing that he'd forgotten about this matter. He couldn't help but say apologetically, I'll come see you tomorrow. At the police station, come to my house, Song Lingshan said hesitantly. She felt more at ease at home for this kind of thing. It felt awkward in the office. Where's your home? Lin Yi didn't refuse. Well, come find me at the police station tomorrow morning. I'll stay in the office tonight, and then I'll take you to my house. Song Lingshan thought for a moment and said, okay. Lin Yi readily agreed. Feng Xiaoxiao was a little conflicted, or rather, very conflicted. She discovered that she really fell in love with Lin Yi, and she loved him very much. This was originally a good thing, as it would allow her to experience the feeling of a passionate love before she died, so the deeper the feelings, the better. And now, Lin Yi also cared about her more and more, which was something Feng Xiaoxiao had always wanted. Because only in this way, the moment she died, Lin Yi would be more sad, and her revenge goal would be achieved. But at this moment, Feng Xiaoxiao felt a little regretful. While she fell deeply in love with Lin Yi, she also cared more and more about Lin Yi's feelings. She didn't want her death to bring pain and burden to Lin Yi. That was a very bad behavior. If she died, how sad would Lin Yi be? Chapter 1083 Become Cute. However, Feng Xiaoxiao is now in a dilemma, caught between a rock and a hard place. What should she do? Feng Xiaoxiao has no idea. In the car today, she wanted to confess to Lin Yi and tell him the truth. However, Feng Xiaoxiao didn't dare to do so. She was already immersed in the sweetness of love and couldn't extricate herself. She was afraid that after telling the truth, she would lose everything she has now. Lin Yi, will he hate her to death? Feng Xiaoxiao thought, that's for sure. Anyone who has been deceived will not feel good, especially Lin Yi, who is so good to her. She will turn love into hatred. However, if she doesn't confess, Feng Xiaoxiao feels guilty. She feels that hiding the truth is unfair to Lin Yi. Feng Xiaoxiao put her hands in her hair and walked around the room. So embarrassed. Feng Xiaoxiao finally understood what it means to play with fire and get burned. Love is not something you can play with casually. Feng Xiaoxiao, why have you become so indecisive? You disappoint me so much. Pengzhan Group was talking to herself. But she was really afraid that after the showdown, she would lose everything, and she couldn't bear this feeling. After walking around the room for a while, Pengzhan Group felt dizzy. She was not in good health to begin with, so she fell on the bed and fell asleep in a daze. The next morning, Lin Yi drove to find Song Lingshan. The eldest lady and Xiao Shu had not gotten up yet. Apparently, they watched TV until midnight last night, so they were still sleeping. Lin Yi made breakfast, left a note, and went out. It was a weekend morning and there were not many cars on the road. Lin Yi arrived at the door of the police station without any obstruction. Lin Yi suddenly thought of Yang Huaijin. He hadn't seen him for a while, and he didn't know if his internal injuries had healed. At the beginning, Lin Yi had not discovered the wonderful use of his energy. He only used Chinese medicine to repair the damaged meridians in Yang Huaijin's body. However, although that method was the best solution for Yang Huaijin's current condition, it could not allow Yang Huaijin to practice the internal family's exercises again. The best outcome would be to make Yang Huaijin a normal person, and Yang Huaijin naturally knew this and had already started practicing external martial arts again. But now, after the successful cases of repairing his own injuries, General Weiwu's injuries, and Uncle Fu's injuries, Lin Yi was completely confident that he could cure Yang Huaijin. This was not a difficult task for Lin Yi at the moment. Lin Yi had overlooked this point before, but when he arrived at the police station, he suddenly realized the key point. He was no longer in a hurry to call Song Lingshan, but directly called Yang Huaijin. Compared to Song Lingshan, in Lin Yi's eyes, curing Yang Huaijin was more important. "Hello, Lin Yi." Yang Huaijin was obviously surprised to receive Lin Yi's call at this time. "Brother Jun, where are you?" Lin Yi asked. "I'm in the provincial capital handling a case." "What's up?" Yang Huaijin asked hurriedly. In his opinion, there must be some reason why Lin Yi suddenly called him early in the morning. "Forget it if you're in the provincial capital," Lin Yi said. "I was at the police station entrance when I suddenly thought of a way to heal your internal injuries better and faster. If you were there, I'd come find you." "Oh? There's a better and faster way." Yang Huaijin was stunned after hearing Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi's previous treatment results had far exceeded his expectations, and now Lin Yi said there was something better than this? How could this not make Yang Huaijin surprised and delighted? "Yes, and this method can repair all the damaged meridians in your body, allowing you to practice internal martial arts again," Lin Yi said. Repair damaged meridians and practice internal martial arts again. Yang Huaijin couldn't help but widen his eyes. Lin Yi's statement was beyond Yang Huaijin's ability to accept. How could this be possible? Yang Huaijin had heard of repairing meridians, and there was a family in the martial arts world that could indeed do it, but not everyone could ask them to repair meridians, and there were many requirements. So, when Lin Yi said he could repair meridians, Yang Huaijin was shocked. His first reaction was, "How is that even possible?" "Yes, repairing damaged meridians and recultivating internal martial arts," Lin Yi repeated with assurance, word for word. "Lin Yi, as far as I know, only those who have successfully cultivated the Sun family's martial arts and reached the first level of great perfection can heal injuries." Yang Huaijin hesitated and said, "Have you contacted someone from the Sun family?" "The Sun family again?" Lin Yi was slightly taken aback and couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that the Sun family enjoyed a high reputation in the martial arts world. All these aristocratic families knew about the Sun family and praised them highly. How could I possibly have such influence? With Sun family martial arts, each level of cultivation can heal one person. How could I possibly ask someone from the Sun family? Lin Yi said with a wry smile. "So what you mean is," Yang Huaijin felt relieved after hearing Yang Ning's words. Lin Yi didn't come from an aristocratic family, and he probably didn't have much contact with them. Even if he asked someone from the Sun family, he wouldn't be able to get even the aristocratic families to heal him, let alone Lin Yi. "Of course I'm the one who heals you," Lin Yi said with a smile. "Why, Brother Jun, you don't believe me?" "Believe? Why not?" Yang Huaijin heard Lin Yi say this, and thought that Lin Yi had misunderstood, thinking that what he had said before was that he didn't believe Lin Yi, and immediately became anxious. He didn't doubt Lin Yi, but this matter was beyond his imagination. So, Yang Huaijin hurriedly said, "Eagle, you saved me on the battlefield, and you treated me some time ago. My life is actually given by you. Even if you use me for biochemical experiments, I won't frown." Lin Yi couldn't help laughing after hearing what Yang Huaijin said, and said, Then contact me when you come back. Okay, I'll contact you when I'm done here. The Chinese medicine you gave me last time is very useful. The previous pain is gradually disappearing. There is no problem for the time being, Yang Huaijin said. Lin Yi nodded. With the previous medicine, there is no problem in saving Yang Huaijin's life, and Lin Yi doesn't need to be too anxious to heal Yang Huaijin. Song Lingshan got up very early today and dressed up carefully. Looking in the mirror, she saw a cute girl who had nothing to do with violent girls, brainless girls, or silly girls. Song Lingshan smiled sweetly. It turns out that she can also have such a feminine side. Humph, Lin Yi will definitely be surprised when he sees her today. I must let him correct my name. From now on, I will no longer call her silly girl, but cute girl. Chapter 1084 The Crisis of the Song Family. The Song family's situation is quite complex by the time of Song Lingshan's generation. It seems the Song family is at its peak. Second grandfather was once a master at the peak of the late Zhuan rank. After several unsuccessful attempts to reach the Earth rank, he traveled the world, seeking an opportunity for a breakthrough. Meanwhile, Song Lingshan is currently the strongest of the younger generation of all the aristocratic families, save for the Yu family. With such strength, the Song family must be formidable. However, this is not the case. The Song family's strength has experienced a gap. Song Lingshan has a younger sister who is currently studying and has already successfully advanced to the rank of Wang rank master. Second uncle has a younger brother, but he's too young, only 10 years old, and hasn't yet reached the rank of Wang rank master. This creates a gap in the Song family's strength, a very dangerous situation for an aristocratic family. Although the Song family has a powerful second grandfather, he's been missing for years. Who knows if he's still alive or if he'll ever return. The most powerful person in the Song family is currently Song Lingshan's grandmother, the old lady Song. She currently possesses the strength of a mid-stage Xuanyuan. However, Grandma's health is clearly getting worse year by year. If she were to pass away, the Song family would be in a very awkward situation. Grandpa only has the strength of a peak late-stage Xuanyuan, which isn't considered impressive for a noble family, and Dad is a bookworm, absorbed in theoretical research. Although second uncle isn't a bookworm, he is a playboy, otherwise he wouldn't have married so late, as her younger brother is 10 years younger than her. The Song family's hope can be said to lie in Song Lingshan, her younger sister, and her younger brother. Currently, only Song Lingshan has made some progress, while her younger sister and brother are still a little behind. Especially her younger brother. Although he's talented, he's still too young. It's very likely that the Song family will be removed from the list of noble families before he grows up. To break this dilemma, there are currently only two ways. One is marriage alliance. Song Lingshan and her younger sister can each marry a member of another family to expand the Song family's status. But given the Song family's current situation, the potential marriage partner was neither high nor low, and Song Lingshan didn't like the idea of a forced marriage at all. So, they had no choice but to take another path, become stronger, constantly stronger, break through the yellow rank, and advance to the profound rank to preserve the Song family's status. Since Song Lingshan didn't want to marry, she naturally had no choice but to constantly become stronger and improve her own strength. In fact, Song Lingshan had been working hard for years, but she hadn't made much progress. But who would have known that, in the dungeon, by accident, she had broken through the barrier of the peak of the late yellow rank, becoming a late yellow rank expert. While Song Lingshan was stunned, she also understood something. Grandma was right. The Song family's kung fu was very suitable for women to practice, but to achieve breakthroughs, one had to practice with a man. Song Lingshan had previously dismissed it, but now she thought about it, it made sense. Had she imagined being like Lin Yi? And then she had broken through the barrier she had always had? If she really did it with Lin Yi, would it directly elevate her to the peak strength of the late yellow rank? The temptation of this kind of strength improvement made Song Lingshan unable to stop. And the thought of breaking the jar also made Song Lingshan feel that it would be a good idea to let Lin Yi be her boyfriend. Lin Yi is very strong and his strength is unfathomable, which meets Song Lingshan's standards for choosing a partner. Even a few days ago, the Yu family, the Xiao family and Zhao Kaibing came together to cause trouble for Lin Yi, but in the end, it ended in vain. This kind of strength is not something that ordinary people can have. Putting aside the fact that Lin Yi has a girlfriend, Song Lingshan is still very fascinated by Lin Yi. Although this guy is domineering, the more so, the more Song Lingshan feels that Lin Yi is the hero in her mind. Girls who practice martial arts always admire heroes, even though this hero looks down on her a little. She is always called a brain-dead girl and a little silly girl, but a little silly girl is better than a brain-dead girl. Her hard work has paid off. Song Lingshan thought, since her virginity was gone and Lin Yi had seen everything, she might as well take the relationship with Lin Yi a step further. As long as it could improve her strength, it would be a good thing. Song Lingshan couldn't figure out what her mentality was. Was she forced to give up because she liked Lin Yi, or was she forced to like Lin Yi because she was forced to give up? Anyway, this proposition was very tangled, just like the question of which came first, the chicken or the egg, which was a headache. So Song Lingshan didn't think about it anymore. Anyway, since Lin Yi met her conditions for choosing a spouse, Song Lingshan felt that she was not at a loss. After dressing up, Song Lingshan lay on the window, waiting for Lin Yi to come late. She waited until after 8 o'clock in the morning. Song Lingshan's eyes were about to pop out, and a yellow beetle appeared under her eyes. This was Chen Yushu's car, usually driven by Lin Yi. Song Lingshan knew this. After the car drove in, Song Lingshan held her cell phone, waiting reservedly for Lin Yi to call her, but after waiting for a long time, Lin Yi's call did not come in. Song Lingshan was a little puzzled. What was Lin Yi doing? Why didn't he call after arriving? After waiting for a while, Lin Yi's call still did not come in. Song Lingshan became a little anxious, and after hesitating for a while, Song Lingshan still called Lin Yi, but what made Song Lingshan depressed was that Lin Yi's line was busy. Why did Lin Yi come to her to call? Song Lingshan wanted to act reserved, but Lin Yi didn't give her a chance. Song Lingshan finally couldn't help it and had to go downstairs first. What kind of date is this? In other people's dates, men are anxious, but she is the girl who is anxious. But Song Lingshan thought again, if Lin Yi is like other men, submissive in front of her, then she would not like it. Forget it, she is destined to be a masochist. Who made her like men who are stronger than herself? Song Lingshan packed up and went downstairs. While she was in the elevator, Lin Yi called. Song Lingshan was delighted and answered the phone. Hello? Lin Yi. However, there was a beep disconnection prompt tone on the phone, and then it showed no network. Song Lingshan was so angry that she almost smashed the phone. Why is there no signal? Lin Yi finally called, but there was no signal? Song Lingshan suddenly remembered that she was in the elevator, and it was normal to have no signal. Song Lingshan sighed helplessly. This was her fate. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1085 Misunderstanding. Although Song Lingshan likes strong men, she suddenly realized that she was also a normal woman. If her strength was tempered with a touch of gentleness, she would be even more perfect. Song Lingshan, lost in thought, exited the elevator and reached the lobby when her phone rang again. Seeing Lin Yi's number on her phone, Song Lingshan felt a surge of excitement. Lin Yi called again? It seemed she could finally hold herself back. The thought of this made Song Lingshan feel happy. She composed herself before answering the phone. Hello, silly girl, what's going on over there? I couldn't get through for ages, and now I finally get through, but you're taking so long to answer. Lin Yi's impatient voice echoed from the other end. Song Lingshan nearly burst into tears. She felt so wronged. This was unacceptable. I was just in the elevator. I saw your car arrive upstairs, so I came down, Song Lingshan explained carefully. Oh, then hurry up. I'll be waiting for you at the door, Lin Yi said. Song Lingshan hung up the phone and didn't care about the grievance anymore. She quickly ran out of the office building, saw Lin Yi's car, opened the door and got in. Who are you? What are you doing in my car? Lin Yi looked at the pretty girl who suddenly got in his car in some confusion. She looked a little familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen her before. Huh? Song Lingshan widened her eyes and pointed at herself in disbelief. Could it be that Lin Yi had lost his memory in such a short time? Song Lingshan looked at Lin Yi's strange expression, which didn't seem fake, and quickly said, It's me, your silly girl? Have you forgotten, Song Lingshan? Lin Yi looked at Song Lingshan, frowned, and asked. It's me, Song Lingshan nodded quickly. Fortunately, Lin Yi remembered. Lin Yi looked at the person carefully, and it was indeed Song Lingshan. It's just that her head shape has changed, and she has put on makeup, eyeliner and eyelashes. She looks much more beautiful than before, which Lin Yi didn't expect. In the past, Song Lingshan was basically dressed in a police uniform, with her hair neatly tied up. Because of her job, she basically didn't wear makeup, so when she dressed like this, Lin Yi almost didn't recognize that the person in front of him was Song Lingshan. You went to Korea. Lin Yi didn't expect that little girl Song would be so beautiful after dressing up, and she was no less beautiful than those movie stars. Even though Lin Yi was surrounded by beautiful women, he couldn't help but be moved and couldn't help but make a joke. Going to Korea, Song Lingshan was stunned. Plastic surgery, Lin Yi laughed. Go to hell, Song Lingshan was furious. What kind of plastic surgery? Does she need it? This is called natural beauty. However, after Song Lingshan instinctively uttered the words die, she was startled and quickly corrected herself, saying, Lin Yi, I wasn't talking about you. I was just kidding, I was just kidding you, too. Lin Yi shrugged and started the car. Song Lingshan breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Lin Yi wasn't angry, but she secretly felt a surge of joy. Did Lin Yi admit she was pretty? However, after Lin Yi finished speaking, his gaze shifted back to the road ahead. Lin Yi's concentration was unmatched. Where's your home? Let's go. Lin Yi started the car. It's nearby. After leaving the police station, follow this road. There's a residential complex about 1,000 meters away. Song Lingshan said to Lin Yi, somewhat disappointed. Hours of meticulous dressing had only earned Lin Yi a seemingly complimentary quip, seemingly without much further effect. Lin Yi nodded, started the car, and drove in the direction Song Lingshan had indicated. The residential complex where Song Lingshan lived was a modern, white-collar community, filled with high-rises and exuding an air of sophistication. Lin Yi parked the car in the direction Song Lingshan had indicated and got out with her. This is it. Song Lingshan walked to the door of a unit not far from the car, entered the password, and went upstairs with Lin Yi. Song Lingshan's home was a small apartment, a type of apartment very popular with singles. As soon as Song Lingshan entered the house, she remembered that she didn't have any extra slippers. How about you wear mine and I'll go barefoot? Song Lingshan hesitated for a moment and said to Lin Yi, no one else usually comes here. I'm always alone. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Apparently, he was the first person to have the privilege of entering Song Lingshan's bedroom. In fact, if Song Lingshan didn't act so foolishly sometimes, Lin Yi would still like her. She was beautiful with a curvaceous figure. Who wouldn't like her? And in front of Lin Yi, she was as obedient as a kitten, which made Lin Yi feel conquered. But Lin Yi didn't want to cause himself any trouble. Song Lingshan was already dependent on him. If anything happened between them, Lin Yi would have nothing else to do but help her solve cases all day. I'll go barefoot, Lin Yi said nonchalantly, then immediately took off his shoes and walked into the house. Song Lingshan hesitated, but didn't say anything else. But she felt a sweet sensation in her heart. It seemed that although Lin Yi appeared to be a strong figure, he was actually quite considerate. Song Lingshan changed her shoes, entered the house, and said to Lin Yi, what do you want to drink? We have soft drinks and mineral water, no need to bother. Lin Yi waved his hand. He didn't want to waste time. Improving Song Lingshan's strength was a tedious task, and after that, Lin Yi would have to recover. If he returned too late, Lin Yi was afraid that the eldest lady and Xiaoshu would be upset. Oh, Song Lingshan was stunned. Don't you want to improve your strength? Let's start now, Lin Yi said. Ah. Start now, Song Lingshan was stunned. She wasn't quite ready yet. Although she had already decided to take it one step further with Lin Yi and she no longer rejected it in her heart, this was her first time after all. She should at least cultivate some feelings and prepare some foreplay, right? For this reason, Song Lingshan specially bought red wine and candles, as well as some semi-finished Western dishes, ready to DIY and have a candlelight Western dinner with Lin Yi to build up the atmosphere. But she didn't expect that Lin Yi would get straight to the point as soon as he came in. Yet, isn't the purpose of calling me here to do this? Lin Yi frowned and asked back. Oh, okay, Song Lingshan felt a little aggrieved, thinking, can't you be a little gentler? Doing that right away? However, despite feeling aggrieved, Song Lingshan nodded and said, then I'll go take a shower first. Do you want to take a shower? Chapter 1086 was scared. Take a shower? Why do you take a shower? You're so dirty. Lin Yi was stunned. Why would Song Lingshan take a shower when she got home? I'm not dirty. Song Lingshan was very angry with Lin Yi. She thought to herself, although I'm not dirty, I took a shower the day before yesterday, and I slept in the office yesterday. Inevitably, Song Lingshan became a little misophobic. After all, it's the first time, so it should be more formal, right? If there were no conditions, it would be fine, but now the conditions are there, so of course I have to take a shower. Why do you take a shower if you're not dirty? Lin Yi said lightly. Will the makeup on your face be whitened after taking a shower? But why don't you cultivate some interest with me first? Song Lingshan felt a little aggrieved. She put on makeup because she wanted to have a candlelight dinner with Lin Yi first, so of course she had to pay attention to her appearance. The more beautiful she was, the more Lin Yi's heart would be moved. Then the two of them would naturally hug each other and kiss. Then Song Lingshan could say, no, I'll go take a shower first. After that, the two of them would naturally fall into bed. It had to be said that Song Lingshan's plan was pretty perfect, but she was completely off the mark. It was completely different from Lin Yi's idea. Cultivate interest? Do you need to cultivate interest to improve your strength? Lin Yi was stunned. This was the first time he had heard of such a statement. Looking at Song Lingshan's shy face, Lin Yi suddenly thought of something. Song Lingshan most likely had it wrong. In fact, when Song Lingshan called Lin Yi and asked him to come here to help her improve her strength, Song Lingshan had more or less hinted at this idea. However, Lin Yi didn't take it seriously at the time and put it out of his mind. But Song Lingshan's behavior today reminded Lin Yi of Song Lingshan's true purpose. Song Lingshan asked him to come here. Could she still want to improve her strength using the method she used in the dungeon last time? That was really a bit too absurd. Although Lin Yi didn't know what Song Lingshan's family's internal skills were like, he just knew that they were a bit special. However, he absolutely didn't believe that Song was thinking that she could level up again by just touching a man. The last time she upgraded, maybe Song Lingshan had already touched the barrier of the next level, so she inexplicably broke through under such circumstances. But if you say that you can upgrade simply by relying on such a thing, then Lin Yi will definitely not believe it. Others may work hard for a lifetime and not make any progress, but Song Lingshan broke through by touching herself for a while? This joke is not funny at all. Of course it's my first time after all. Song Lingshan blushed slightly, and looked at Lin Yi's face carefully, afraid that Lin Yi would get angry and walk away. Song Lingshan was a little annoyed. According to her investigation information, Lin Yi should be a playboy, surrounded by beautiful women, with a girlfriend Tang Yun, but also having unusual relationships with Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. Today, Song Lingshan thought about dressing up carefully to attract Lin Yi, but to her surprise, Lin Yi didn't seem attracted at all. This made Song Lingshan very confused. Was she really that bad? It's okay, it's not my first time, Lin Yi said lightly. He thought of Song Lingshan's misunderstanding. And suddenly he felt a sense of mischief, so he decided to tease Song Xian. In fact, most of the time, Lin Yi still liked the little tiger girl from before, and it was quite interesting to quarrel with her. Ah, it's not your first time? Then when was your first time? Song Lingshan was slightly stunned. She thought Lin Yi was also having his first time, but now it seems that it was not. So was Tang Yun Lin Yi's first time? My first time was mine, Lin Yi said lightly. In fact, the first person Lin Yi helped to improve his strength was indeed himself. Song Lingshan was slightly stunned. Suddenly, she remembered a sentence she saw on the internet, which said that most men gave their first time to his hand. Is it the same for Lin Yi? That made sense. Song Lingshan breathed a sigh of relief, but still hesitated, asking, so, is this the second time today? The second time was with a dog, Lin Yi said. Huh? A dog? Song Lingshan's eyes widened after hearing Lin Yi's words. She pointed at Lin Yi in shock, her mouth open, unable to speak. With a dog? Lin Yi was too tough, wasn't he? With a dog? Was this a real-life Beauty and the Beast? No, it should be a handsome man and a female beast. Yes, it's a dog, General Mighty, Lin Yi nodded. General Mighty, Song Lingshan nearly fainted. Isn't General Mighty Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu's dog? That dog seemed to be a male, right? Lin Yi with a male dog? How is that even possible? This was unbelievable. Song Lingshan suddenly felt a chill, goosebumps all over her body. She felt that she might not like Lin Yi anymore. Wasn't this man too scary? Was there a third time? Song Lingshan continued to ask with great determination. She was a police officer after all, and the special nature of her job had allowed her to witness many more perverted cases. So, although Lin Yi's words made her feel a little nauseous, they were still worse than those perverts who ate babies alive. The third time was Uncle Fu, Lin Yi said expressionlessly. Uncle Fu. Song Lingshan rolled her eyes and almost fainted. Uncle Fu, wasn't he Chu Pengzhan's driver and housekeeper? A man in his 40s or 50s, right? Lin Yi was actually with him? Were they gay friends? No wonder Lin Yi was with a male dog before. So, this was the reason. Song Lingshan really couldn't help herself this time. It was too disgusting, too perverted, she really couldn't stand it. Fortunately, when she was in the dungeon last time, she still regarded Lin Yi as the object of her fantasy, but she didn't expect Lin Yi to do such a thing. It's for both humans and animals. Song Lingshan even wondered if Uncle Fu also knew General Weiwu. Did the three of them have 3 groups of fun together? No. Song Lingshan felt like she was going to vomit. It was unbearable. However, Lin Yi ignored Song Lingshan's expression, and said normally, I called Brother Jun downstairs of the police station before, and was going to try with him, but he is not on the city, so forget it for now, and come to you first, Brother Jun, Brother Yang Huaijun. Song Lingshan was stunned. Yes, Lin Yi nodded. Song Lingshan screamed, she was going crazy, and finally couldn't bear it anymore and pointed at Lin Yi angrily. Lin Yi, you are so perverted and disgusting. You actually did that with a dog and an old man, and now you want to drag Brother Yang into the water? I won't agree. Go away, I don't want to see you again. Chapter 1087 You are thinking wrongly. Oh, okay, I'm leaving. Lin Yi nodded, stood up, and prepared to leave. Watching Lin Yi leave so quickly, Song Lingshan suddenly hesitated. Was what Lin Yi said before true or false? Song Lingshan thought about it carefully, and why did she find it a little unbelievable? First of all, what Lin Yi said seemed very unreliable. Based on Song Lingshan's recent contact with Lin Yi, Song Lingshan felt that Lin Yi was not such a person. Could it be that Lin Yi didn't like her and said this on purpose so that she wouldn't bother him in the future? Thinking of this, Song Lingshan felt it was very likely. Every time she bothered Lin Yi and asked him to help find clues to solve the case, although Lin Yi eventually agreed, he was reluctant every time and seemed a little impatient. And could it be that Lin Yi was using this incident to deliberately distance himself from her and was talking nonsense here? Wait a minute. Thinking of this, Song Lingshan didn't want Lin Yi to leave just like that. Anything else? Lin Yi turned and asked. Did you really do that with General Weiwu and Uncle Fu? Song Lingshan looked into Lin Yi's eyes, trying to find the real answer. What happened? Lin Yi asked back. We just had sex. Song Lingshan gritted her teeth and said. Having sex? Lin Yi's eyes widened, looking at Song Lingshan with a puzzled expression. I had sex with General Weiwu and Uncle Fu? Are you crazy again? How did you come up with that? Your thoughts are too complicated, aren't they? Have you read too many Fujoshi novels? What Fujoshi novels are I reading? Didn't you say that before? The first time you contributed to yourself, the second time was with General Weiwu, and the third time was with Uncle Fu. Song Lingshan gritted her teeth in anger, thinking, how could Lin Yi deny it in the blink of an eye? He scolded himself for being stupid again. He was so unlucky. He had just successfully upgraded to a silly girl, and it hadn't been a few days, and he was demoted back to a stupid girl again. Yes, the first time I used this method to improve my strength, it was for myself. The second time, it was for General Weiwu, and the third time, it was for Uncle Fu. What's the problem? Lin Yi asked. What are you thinking? Why are your thoughts so complicated? You're talking about improving my strength? Song Lingshan's face flushed immediately. Was she really wrong? But isn't improving strength just that way? Didn't she improve that way last time? So, Song Lingshan asked again, somewhat unconvinced, then how do you want to help me improve my strength? Take off your clothes, Lin Yi said calmly, glancing at Song Lingshan. His plan to tease Song Lingshan wasn't over yet. Take off your clothes? Song Lingshan was stunned again. If Lin Yi had asked her to take off her clothes before, she would have been happy to do so, and would have happily taken them off. But now, after all the scary things Lin Yi had said before, even though the reality didn't seem to be what she thought, Lin Yi asked her to take off her clothes again, and Song Lingshan hesitated again. Could it be that when Lin Yi upgraded Uncle Fu also took off his clothes? Are you upgrading or not? My time is limited. If not, I'll leave first. Lin Yi frowned and said lightly. Upgrade. Song Lingshan felt a little aggrieved and gritted her teeth, but in an instant, she figured out a problem. She thought that Lin Yi might have been testing her before. Otherwise, if Lin Yi really had a relationship with Uncle Fu and General Weiwu, how could Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu let Lin Yi continue to stay in the villa? Wouldn't they kick him out? Besides, Lin Yi also has a beautiful girlfriend, Tang Yun. If Lin Yi's sexual orientation really has problems, then what's the matter with Tang Yun? It can't be just for fun, right? Then he might as well find Kang Xiaobo, Zhong Pinliang or someone like that. Of course, there's a possibility that Chu Mengyao, Chen Yashu and Tang Yun don't know about Lin Yi's affairs, but how is that possible? There is no impenetrable wall in the world. Since Lin Yi can tell her all this so easily, there is no question of keeping it secret. That's why Song Lingshan thought, maybe Lin Yi was deliberately testing her, deliberately saying such bad things about himself so that Song Lingshan wouldn't bother him in the future. With this thought, Song Lingshan felt relieved and reached out to untie her belt. Song Lingshan was a person who liked to be clean, so the first thing she did when she got home was to take off her trousers. Then she sat on the sofa and slowly took off her other clothes to avoid getting the sofa dirty. So, Song Lingshan subconsciously took off her trousers as well. What are you doing? Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh when he saw Song Lingshan was about to take off her pants. He stopped teasing her. If he continued teasing, something might happen. After all, Lin Yi came to Song Lingshan because he really wanted to help her improve her strength, not to do anything else. Did you ask me to take off my clothes? Song Lingshan looked at Lin Yi with some confusion. I asked you to take off my clothes, but not my pants, Lin Yi corrected. Huh? Song Lingshan was stunned again. Is there any difference between taking off clothes and taking off pants? If you really nitpick, there's certainly a difference, but doesn't it all mean the same thing when people talk? Song Lingshan felt a little depressed. Did Lin Yi really have some special hobby? Was he just interested in the upper body and had no interest in the lower half? However, after all her previous suspicions and having been tricked by Lin Yi, Song Lingshan didn't hesitate to express her opinion this time. She just wanted to take off her clothes. She failed him. As long as she could improve her strength, nothing else mattered. Song Lingshan's desperate mentality took over again, and she began to not care. After removing her coat, Song Lingshan began to unbutton her shirt, but Lin Yi stopped her. Alright, just take off your coat. Although Lin Yi wanted to continue to see what Song Lingshan meant, he gave up the idea. Some things should be done in moderation. Song Lingshan had too many problems. Solving her case was much more difficult than fulfilling Feng Xiaoxiao's wish. Furthermore, Lin Yi didn't want to incur any more emotional debts for no reason. Currently, things were already troublesome enough. Tang Yun and Feng Xiaoxiao were considered established wives. As for the eldest daughter and Xiaoshu, their true feelings were unknown. Xiaoshu's expressions were more obvious, but she often lied. The eldest daughter, while not prone to deception, rarely expressed herself. Furthermore, he had a half-lover, Sun Jinggai, so Lin Yi wasn't too keen on provoking Song Lingshan for the time being. Chapter 1088 Rapid Improvement of Strength. Lin Yi's restraining made Song Lingshan even more puzzled. After all this trouble, all they had to do was take off their coat? Lin Yi had asked Song Lingshan to take off her coat just to expose the meridians on her wrists. Rolling up her sleeves would have been fine, but Lin Yi was just joking with Song Lingshan. That's it? What are we going to do now? Song Lingshan's plans were all disrupted, and she could only look at Lin Yi in confusion and ask. Just go sit on the sofa, Lin Yi said calmly. After that, Lin Yi sat down on the sofa first, while Song Lingshan hesitated for a moment, but eventually sat down next to Lin Yi. Okay, then, Song Lingshan asked. Lin Yi didn't say much, but simply grabbed Song Lingshan's hand, which made Song Lingshan blush slightly again. Her first time holding hands with the opposite sex was ruined just like that. How unromantic. Practice your inner strength skills yourself, Lin Yi said, then ignored her, closed his eyes, and entered the jade pendant space. Lin Yi had previously discovered that the energy within the jade pendant could be transferred to others through his own body without affecting his own energy. This delighted him greatly, as he could finally improve others' strength without losing levels. Of course, this would negate the no destruction, no establishment principle, and Lin Yi wouldn't gain any benefits from transmitting ki to others. However, Lin Yi had just leveled up and hadn't yet reached the late Zhuan stage barrier. Therefore, even if Lin Yi performed the no destruction, no establishment strategy again, it would be useless. Only when Lin Yi truly reached the late Zhuan stage barrier would another no destruction, no establishment strategy have the desired effect. Even so, Lin Yi possessed an unparalleled golden finger. Many people, even if they touched the edge of the next level, could never find the opportunity to break through. However, Lin Yi was different. As long as he accumulated sufficient qi within his body, he could effortlessly break through the barrier and advance to the next level. After entering the Jade Pendant, Lin Yi silently activated the Xuanyuan dragon taming technique. Song Lingshan was puzzled. Why was he practicing internal energy now? The spiritual energy in her own home was very thin. For a late-stage Wong rank master, practicing here wouldn't be of much use, right? Song Lingshan wanted to ask Lin Yi what was going on, but seeing that he had already closed his eyes, she gave up for the moment and silently followed Lin Yi's instructions, practicing the Song family's internal energy. But the next moment, a look of utter horror crossed her face. She suddenly felt a surge of pure, powerful Zhangqi flowing from Lin Yi's body into her own. And it continued to flow in continuously. What was going on? Was Lin Yi passing on his inner energy to her? Song Lingshan, a martial artist herself, naturally knew the rules of Zhangqi usage. Generally speaking, the Zhangqi generated by each internal energy technique was distinct and couldn't be used interchangeably. At best, the meridians would be damaged, and at worst, the two Zhangqi would repel and explode, potentially endangering one's life. However, Lin Yi's qi didn't seem to be like this. After flowing into Song Lingshan's body, it was quickly absorbed and integrated, as if it had been created specifically for her internal energy cultivation method. This was enough to shock Song Lingshan. How could Lin Yi's qi be used by her? Suddenly, Song Lingshan remembered that time in the hospital when Lin Yi had used his qi to heal Liu Boji's injuries. So, could Lin Yi's qi really be used by others? Well, even if Lin Yi's qi could be used by her, Song Lingshan knew the preciousness of qi. It was cultivated through painstaking cultivation. Just a small amount of qi required countless precious materials and treasures. And the qi Lin Yi had transferred to her in just a few moments was equivalent to the results of months of cultivation. Lin Yi was actually so willing to give? Thinking of this, Song Lingshan felt that Lin Yi was really good to her. And she had really misunderstood before. It turned out that Lin Yi's so-called method of improving strength was completely different from what she had imagined. It wasn't dual cultivation, but rather a unilateral transfer of energy to her. Song Lingshan felt a surge of gratitude. She asked herself, were they really that close? After all, even in many major sects, when brothers and sisters practiced the same martial arts, one wouldn't easily pass on their painstakingly cultivated true qi to the other without reservation. The hardship of cultivation was truly unimaginable. The higher the level, the harder it was to make even the slightest progress. Who would want to share their true qi with others? And the only people Song Lingshan knew who supported and passed on true qi to each other through cultivation were her grandparents. But they were husband and wife, an old couple who had shared hardships throughout their lives. Naturally, they worked together to run the Song family well. But she and Lin Yi weren't even a couple now, were they? Why would Lin Yi be so willing to sacrifice so much for her? You know, every time Grandma helped Grandpa improve with strength, she'd lose a lot of qi. Grandma was already a peak-level mid-stage 1-level expert, but every time she helped Grandpa improve, she'd lose some strength. This was one of the reasons Grandma hadn't made any further progress over the years. Thinking of this, Song Lingshan looked at Lin Yi with a tender gaze. Her love for him had paid off, he was so kind to her, and she was deeply touched. However, after a while, the expression on Song Lingshan's face grew even stranger. Lin Yi hadn't stopped transmitting qi to her yet. Lin Yi's qi continued to flow in, exceeding Song Lingshan's expectations. Even if Grandma were transmitting qi to Grandpa, she wouldn't have been able to transmit so much in one go. Yet, Lin Yi seemed to be transmitting qi endlessly. Song Lingshan frowned slightly, wondering if something was wrong. But seeing Lin Yi's closed eyes and silence, Song Lingshan hesitated. In the end, Song Lingshan sighed, closed her eyes, and continued to practice her internal skills, absorbing the true energy transmitted by Lin Yi. Originally, Song Lingshan had just reached the late yellow rank and had not yet stabilized and consolidated, but now, Song Lingshan's strength was growing at a speed that was almost visible to the naked eye. Chapter 1089, Late Yellow Stage? Zhuan Stage? As Song Lingshan silently practiced her internal energy techniques, her fear grew even greater. But Lin Yi showed no sign of stopping. Song Lingshan felt like she was not far from reaching the peak of the late yellow rank. Was this real? Was she dreaming? Song Lingshan was a little unconvinced. It was too unreal, wasn't it? But sometimes, things just seemed so unreal. Song Lingshan felt her body absorbing more and more true qi, and her strength was rapidly increasing. It could be said that today was the fastest day of her life's strength improvement. Before, Song Lingshan would have never imagined that she could achieve such a rapid increase in strength in such a short period of time. Although Song Lingshan had previously imagined that through the dual cultivation of the Song family's internal energy, she could reach the peak of the late yellow rank, but that was just a fantasy. If the Song family's dual cultivation method was truly that effective, then her grandfather wouldn't have just reached the peak of the late yellow rank. But now, Song Lingshan had a feeling that she could truly break through. She could truly reach the peak of the late yellow rank. Song Lingshan glanced at Lin Yi. He still sat there with his eyes closed, his expression calm, showing no sign of a miss. So Song Lingshan had to temporarily put aside the urge to speak up and stop Lin Yi. In this situation, Song Lingshan didn't want to disturb Lin Yi, who knew if her words would distract him and cause him to go off the deep end. Song Lingshan knew that transmitting qi to others was much more complex and difficult than cultivating one's own, and it was easy to go off the deep end if one wasn't careful. So, although Song Lingshan worried that Lin Yi might be overwhelmed by the amount of qi he had transferred to her, she endured it. Song Lingshan took a deep breath, closed her eyes again, and continued to greedily absorb the qi Lin Yi was transmitting. This pure and powerful qi was impossible to obtain naturally, so Song Lingshan cherished it with all her heart, unwilling to waste a single drop. Lin Yi had painstakingly cultivated this, and now he was giving it to her for free. How could Song Lingshan possibly let Lin Yi down? Though secretly grateful, Song Lingshan dared not slack off. She continuously practiced the Song family's internal energy techniques. After a while, she felt this henki within her body increasing, as if she was about to hit the barrier of the peak of the late yellow rank. Was she about to break through so soon? A flash of disbelief and astonishment crossed Song Lingshan's eyes. Lin Yi was actually forcibly elevating her from the late yellow rank to the peak of the late yellow rank. Soon, Song Lingshan felt as if her body was about to explode. The Zhenki surged into her body rapidly and powerfully, undeterred by the barrier. Normally, when reaching the first level strength barrier, it would be the most difficult to absorb even a single drop of Zhenki. But this time, the situation was different. The Zhenki absorbed into her body not only did not decrease, but actually showed an upward trend. Song Lingshan was in excruciating pain, and she was also horrified. She didn't know what the consequences would be if she continued like this, what side effects she might experience, but she didn't stop practicing. Lin Yi wouldn't harm her, she reasoned. So, while the current situation wasn't easy, she feared it was the precursor to a breakthrough. Time ticked by, from morning until noon, Song Lingshan's strength steadily increasing. Finally, she felt as if she could no longer endure it. The qi within her body had reached a certain saturation point. She was about to cry out in surprise, but the next moment, her body exploded. With a boom, she felt an unprecedented surge of exhilaration. The feeling, reminiscent of that moment in the dungeon, sent Song Lingshan soaring into the air. Song Lingshan couldn't help but moan in pleasure. She had broken through, truly broken through. Yes, she was now a peak-level expert at the late yellow rank. Song Lingshan had never imagined that she had only just broken through to the late yellow rank a few days ago, and today she was already at the peak. This rate of advancement was a bit too terrifying, wasn't it? Song Lingshan wanted to thank Lin Yi, but suddenly realized that Lin Yi's qi didn't seem to stop flowing, but continued to flow into her body. Could it be? Song Lingshan was slightly stunned. Could it be that Lin Yi wanted to help her reach a higher level? Song Lingshan was shocked. The current situation had completely exceeded her expectations. Lin Yi, doesn't he need to rest? However, Lin Yi didn't say anything, so Song Lingshan couldn't ask any more questions. She could only silently continue practicing the Song family's internal energy techniques, absorbing the qi transmitted by Lin Yi. 2 hours later, Song Lingshan couldn't believe what she was seeing. She had actually touched the barrier of the Zhuan level. Could she be breaking through again? Was she going to become a Zhuan level master? Song Lingshan couldn't believe it. She really wanted to raise her hands and cheer. Zhuan level master is a lifelong dream for many people. Stepping from the Wang level to the Zhuan level not only represents a qualitative leap in strength, but also a corresponding extension of lifespan. Moreover, with the protection of the key, ordinary swords and guns would be powerless against her. For Song Lingshan, this was a dream come true. However, Song Lingshan's excitement was short-lived and had to come to an abrupt end. The Zenki Lin Yi was sending her suddenly stopped when she touched the barrier of the Zhuan level. This meant that Song Lingshan was still at the peak of the late Wang level, albeit at the peak of the late Wang level, reaching the great perfection. She was only one step away from the Zhuan level, but taking that step was no easy feat. Lin Yi slowly opened his eyes, not surprised at all. He was once again stuck at the peak of the late Wang level. It seemed that as long as he didn't break through to the earth level, he couldn't raise others to the Zhuan level. Even so, Lin Yi was satisfied. This was far superior to others. While the expert he had created was a bit of a tad bit useless to him, to outsiders, it was truly astonishing. The improvement is complete. Feel it for yourself, Lin Yi said calmly. You should be at the peak of the late Wang level now. Song Lingshan suddenly recovered from her shock. Was it over? Song Lingshan was slightly disappointed that Lin Yi hadn't promoted her to the early stage of the Zhuan rank, but at this moment, Song Lingshan was already very satisfied. It's important to be content, not greedy. Chapter 1090 Lin Yi's Indifference. The current situation was undoubtedly a pleasant surprise for Song Lingshan. Song Lingshan was now definitely a leader among the younger generation. Given time, she felt that breaking through to the Zhuan level wouldn't be a problem. And right now, Song Lingshan was most concerned about Lin Yi. She turned her head and looked at Lin Yi, her beautiful eyes filled with gratitude and tenderness. In the past, Song Lingshan's feelings for Lin Yi tended to be resigned to the fact that she had given up, but now, she felt that she had truly developed feelings for him. Anyone would be moved to tears by Lin Yi's actions. Thank you, Lin Yi. How are you feeling now? Song Lingshan looked at Lin Yi with concern and asked, You've passed all your ki to me, so I'm fine, Lin Yi said calmly. In fact, Lin Yi was truly fine. This time, Lin Yi had simply gone to sleep in the jade pendant. At most, he had practiced for half a day in vain without making any progress, but Lin Yi's own strength had not been diminished at all. All the energy transferred to Song Lingshan came from the jade pendant's space, and Lin Yi's body was just a medium. Although Lin Yi said so, Song Lingshan naturally didn't believe it. How could he be fine after losing so much true energy? Grandma only transferred a little true energy to Grandpa, and she had to go into seclusion for a long time to recover. What's more, Lin Yi transferred so much true energy to herself. Lin Yi, thank you. I know you must be having a hard time now, Song Lingshan said with emotion. I didn't expect you to be so kind to me. Giving me so much true energy and improving my strength so much at once, I really don't know what to say. Originally, Song Lingshan's plan was to just flirt with Lin Yi today, and then practice dual cultivation. Being able to improve a little bit of cultivation would be great for Song Lingshan. However, she didn't expect that Lin Yi would not practice dual cultivation with her. Instead, he used another method to directly transfer true energy to her, forcibly improving her cultivation. This touched Song Lingshan, and she secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although Song Lingshan had some reckless emotions towards Lin Yi, it was her first time after all, so how could she not care? Even if the purpose was for dual cultivation, Song Lingshan still felt that it should be a little romantic. It would be best if the first time was not for dual cultivation, but for love. Now, she had successfully kept her first time, but she felt a little lost in her heart. She didn't quite understand Lin Yi's heart. Was Lin Yi interested in her? If Lin Yi was interested in her, under the previous circumstances, he could have just gone with the flow and had sex with her, but Lin Yi didn't do that. But if Lin Yi didn't have that kind of interest in her, then why did he waste so much of his true energy to improve the strength of someone he didn't like? This true energy wasn't blown by the wind, so why was it so precious that he just gave it to a stranger? Seeing Song Lingshan, who was deeply moved, Lin Yi said calmly, It's nothing. My dog is also at the peak of the late yellow rank. Huh? Song Lingshan was slightly stunned, and then, her face flushed with anger at Lin Yi's words. Did Lin Yi mean that he was on the same level as the dog? In other words, Lin Yi's improvement of her strength was like improving the strength of a dog? Well, it's getting late. I should go. Lin Yi stood up and walked towards the door without saying anything else. Lin Yi's reaction was far beyond Song Lingshan's expectations. Lin Yi's indifference also left Song Lingshan somewhat bewildered. Song Lingshan was a little confused. Lin Yi had put so much effort into improving her strength, but in the end, he didn't buy her back. What did this mean? Of course, Song Lingshan didn't believe what Lin Yi had said before. Lin Yi's words only made Song Lingshan angry for a moment, but then she regained her composure. Although Lin Yi called her a brain-dead girl and a silly girl, Song Lingshan wasn't stupid or retarded at all, otherwise, she wouldn't be sitting in her current position. Song Lingshan felt that Lin Yi's words and his coldness were intentional. Previously, in the hospital, Lin Yi had worked tirelessly treating Liu Bojia's injuries, sweating and toiling away. Today, he had expended even more energy. How could nothing have happened? Granted, as Lin Yi had said, perhaps General Weiwu had become a peak-level late-stage yellow-rank expert, but there must have been a reason. Even if Lin Yi had nothing better to do, he couldn't possibly improve a dog's strength. Wait a minute, after figuring this out, Song Lingshan quickly called out to Lin Yi. Lin Yi couldn't help but frown at Song Lingshan's words. He was acting so coldly because he was afraid Song Lingshan would be moved and do something like sacrifice herself. The relationship between the two of them was already quite ambiguous, and now that Song Lingshan had achieved a breakthrough, she might do something impulsive. Although Lin Yi's willpower is stronger than that of an ordinary person, if he is faced with a beautiful woman and is extremely seduced and tempted, he might give in. Of course, this is not what Lin Yi wants to see. For now, Lin Yi only defines Song Lingshan as a good friend, at most a confidant with a somewhat ambiguous relationship. She is still a certain distance away from being a lover. Although Lin Yi thinks Song Lingshan is nice, with good looks and a good figure, Lin Yi is afraid that if he really has something to do with her, Song Lingshan will become more demanding and ask him to help with this and that, and Lin Yi does not have that much time to deal with it. Moreover, in Lin Yi's mind, finding a lover is really nothing, as long as Tang Yun doesn't object. However, Lin Yi really doesn't have that much time to help Song Lingshan solve the case. Pengzhan still has so many wishes that have not been fulfilled. Lin Yi can't be distracted by doing other things. So, based on the above, Lin Yi decided to be a little cold towards Song Lingshan to prevent their relationship from developing rapidly. As Lin Yi stood up to leave, he felt unhappy. He thought, how nice it would be if Miss Song didn't have so many troubles. Is there anything else? Lin Yi asked calmly. Are you tired? Why don't you take a rest before leaving? I'll go cook for you, Song Lingshan asked softly, not changing her tone at all because of Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly, then frowned. Brainless girl, you have been flirting all the time, do you want me to push you down? Chapter 1091 Lost and Entangled. Huh? Song Lingshan was stunned, her face flushing, but she was still a little angry. Although Song Lingshan felt a bit desperate, she also had some self-respect. She was not happy with Lin Yi's words. Song Lingshan was also a girl. She could accept being called mentally retarded and silly by Lin Yi, but she couldn't accept being called a slut. Song Lingshan looked at Lin Yi angrily and argued, Lin Yi, Song Lingshan, I'm not a casual woman. If you don't believe me, then I can't help it. But what I want to say is that before that time in the basement, no man had ever seen my body. Okay, I believe you, but it's not casual, and it has nothing to do with being a slut. Lin Yi didn't want Song Lingshan to tempt him anymore. If this continued, something would happen sooner or later. It was better to end it quickly. Now, Lin Yi had helped Song Lingshan improve her strength. This meant that Song Lingshan would not look for Lin Yi again in the short term. This was also the reason why Lin Yi agreed to help her improve her strength. Otherwise, with Song Lingshan's thinking, God knows what her so-called strengthening strength is actually like. Masturbating in front of me? Once or twice is fine, but over time, Lin Yi is not a person with abnormal sexual orientation, so something will definitely happen. Then I will only be flirty with you. Song Lingshan thought about it and didn't correct her. Anyway, as long as Lin Yi believes in her innocence, it's fine. As for being flirty with Lin Yi, that's okay. I have been a brainless girl and a little silly girl, so I don't mind being a flirty girl. So Song Lingshan said, if you like, you can also call me a flirty girl. Puff Lin Yi was stunned after hearing what Song Lingshan said, and almost stumbled and fell to the ground. Is this okay? Is there anyone willing to be a flirty girl? Are you kidding me? I have something else to do. Let's call. Lin Yi found that he couldn't resist the temptation. Song Lingshan is really a stunner, especially her servility and somewhat masochistic tendency in front of him, which makes Lin Yi feel like going up and conquering her wantonly. Undoubtedly, among the women around Lin Yi, although each has its own characteristics, Song Lingshan is definitely an alternative. Although she is extremely strong in front of outsiders, she is extremely well behaved in front of Lin Yi, which makes Lin Yi feel very special and has an indescribable sense of accomplishment. This feeling makes Lin Yi feel very dangerous and a little bit unable to stop. Lin Yi didn't say anything to Song Lingshan anymore, but pushed the door and walked out of Song Lingshan's apartment. Looking at Lin Yi's indifferent back, Song Lingshan sighed a little disappointedly. She really couldn't understand Lin Yi. This man really made her a little moved, but also confused Song Lingshan. Does he like her? Song Lingshan gritted her teeth. Lin Yi, you've seen me, Song Lingshan, naked. This is unforgivable for aristocratic families that value women's virtues. Unless Song Lingshan marries Lin Yi, otherwise, if the news gets out, she will definitely be ridiculed. Many wealthy families are like this. They allow men to have 3 wives and 4 concubines, and the young masters of aristocratic families can play with women as much as they want before marriage, and no one will say anything. But the eldest daughter of an aristocratic family is absolutely not allowed to have any entanglement with a man before marriage. Unless it is her fiancé, even holding hands or looking at his body is absolutely not allowed. That's why Song Lingshan had the idea of breaking the jar before, but as time went by, Song Lingshan really fell in love with Lin Yi, this strong man. Song Lingshan felt that only Lin Yi was worthy of her. Various reasons led Song Lingshan to make today's decision. However, this decision could not be realized because Lin Yi did not practice dual cultivation with her at all, and even had some aversion to the idea of dual cultivation. Is Lin Yi a cold personality? Song Lingshan speculated maliciously. She was so angry. Song Lingshan stamped her feet in anger. She knew very well whether Lin Yi was asexual. Back then in the hospital, Lin Yi had clearly reacted. That was why Song Lingshan was so angry. Humph. Lin Yi, the man I, Song Lingshan, have chosen, I will never change, Song Lingshan gritted her teeth. After cursing Lin Yi for a while, Song Lingshan became excited again. The joy of her improved strength made Song Lingshan want to tell her grandfather the news immediately. Song Lingshan temporarily put Lin Yi's matter behind her, quickly picked up the phone, and dialed the number in the Song family's grandfather's room. Hello, Song Xuanyuan, the head of the Song family, quickly answered the phone. This number was his private number, and only the children of the Song family and the heads of other families knew it. During the day, Song Xuanyuan almost always stayed in his room to practice, so when the phone rang, he was the first to answer it. Grandpa, it's me, Song Lingshan said excitedly. I have good news for you. Oh? Shangshan, it's you. It's been ages since I last called Grandpa. What good news do you have to share? Song Xuanyuan's tone softened upon hearing his granddaughter's voice. Song Lingshan was the most promising young member of the Song family. At such a young age, she had already reached the late yellow rank. Her future was limitless. But sometimes, Song Xuanyuan felt a pity that Song Lingshan was a girl. How much better it would have been if she were a boy. How long ago did I call you to share the good news? The last time I broke through to the late yellow rank, Song Lingshan said coquettishly. In front of her grandfather, she transformed into a spoiled little girl again. This was a testament to Song Lingshan's unpredictable nature. Haha, hasn't it been ages? Song Xuanyuan smiled. Shangshan, what good news do you have for Grandpa? Guess, Song Lingshan asked, keeping the question a secret. Oh? Okay, then let me guess. Did you solve a big case and get a promotion? Song Xuanyuan guessed. That's not it. I've solved a lot of big cases, but that's just work, my responsibility. There's nothing to be happy about, Song Lingshan said calmly. That's not it. Song Xuanyuan was slightly stunned, and after thinking for a moment, he said, could it be that you got a boyfriend? Hearing her grandfather's words, Song Lingshan's face suddenly flushed. The speaker may not mean it, but the listener will take it seriously. Song Xuanyuan knew his granddaughter had high standards, so he said this deliberately to tease her, but he didn't expect that he would really hit the nail on the head. Hearing Song Lingshan fall silent on the other end of the line, Song Xuanyuan was slightly stunned. Could he have guessed right? Did his granddaughter get a boyfriend? However, Song Xuanyuan's heart began to tense up. In his opinion, Song Lingshan was the most outstanding of the younger generation in the Song family. So, when it came to her choice of a spouse, he had to be even more cautious. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1092 Song Lingshan's Mate Selection Criteria. Shangshan, do you really have a boyfriend? Song Xiangwen asked nervously. Not yet. Song Lingshan naturally wouldn't reveal Lin Yi's affairs, it was her private life. Besides, Lin Yi already had a girlfriend, so she was only a mistress, maybe even a fourth or fifth. It would be embarrassing to reveal it. Oh, not yet. Song Xiangwen was relieved to hear his granddaughter's words, but still a little disappointed. His granddaughter had grown up and still hadn't found a man she liked. He had previously thought the Chen family's son would be a good match for Song Lingshan. Although Song Xiangwen wasn't very optimistic about Chen Yushan was from an aristocratic family after all, so Song Xiangwen hadn't objected. But now, the situation was completely different. Back then, Song Lingshan was only a mid-level Huangji expert, while Chen Yushan was early-level Huangji. The difference between the two wasn't that big, so Song Xiangwen could accept it. But now, Song Lingshan was a late-level Huangji expert, and the gap between them was quite significant. Naturally, Song Xiangwen didn't want his granddaughter to marry Chen Yushan again. Speaking of Song Xiangwen's power, it's not surprising. The Song family's hopes now seem to rest on Song Lingshan. However, no matter how much Song Lingshan improves, she will eventually marry into another family and become part of another family. Therefore, Song Lingshan's strength can only serve as leverage for the Song family to form alliances with other families. The stronger Song Lingshan's strength, the stronger her son-in-law will naturally be, and the greater the support she can provide to the Song family. As long as the Song family holds on until Song Lingshan's younger brother grows up, they can maintain their status. Therefore, Song Xiangwen wants Song Lingshan to find a stronger man who can also take care of her younger brother. Now it seems that Song Lingshan doesn't have a boyfriend, and Song Xiangwen is a little worried. He knows Song Lingshan's standards for choosing a partner. If this continues, it is estimated that only the child of the Yu family, who has never been seen, can surpass Song Lingshan. None of the younger generations in the aristocratic families can match Song Lingshan. Grandpa, I've broken through again. I'm now at the peak of the late yellow rank. Seeing that her grandfather couldn't guess, Song Lingshan had to speak out herself. Oh, what breakthrough did you make? Shangshan, what did you say? You said you broke through again? How is that even possible? Song Xiangwen's eyes widened in surprise after hearing Song Lingshan's words. How could this be possible? If he remembered correctly, Song Lingshan's last breakthrough was just a few days ago. Even then, Song Xiangwen was still stunned for a while. He hadn't expected his granddaughter, so young, to be a master of the late yellow rank, while he himself was only at the peak of the late yellow rank, right? Grandpa, you heard me right. I really broke through the barrier again. I'm now at the peak of the late yellow rank, and I'm even at the peak of the late yellow rank, only one step away from the profound rank. Song Lingshan said this, feeling both sweet and emotional. Many people had practiced hard, reaching unattainable barriers, yet Lin Yi had forcibly broken through them so effortlessly. Lin Yi gave Song Lingshan the impression of becoming increasingly mysterious and powerful. As far as she knew, few aristocratic families could forcibly increase someone's strength. Even if there were, it was impossible for them to directly increase their strength by a level and still be able to speak without any problems. What do you mean you've already reached the peak of the late yellow rank, achieving great perfection? Song Xiangwen was astonished upon hearing his granddaughter's words. He hadn't even reached the peak of the late yellow rank, yet Song Lingshan had already? Grandpa, don't doubt it. I never joke about this, Song Lingshan said with certainty. And it's you, Shangshan, who never jokes with me. Song Xiangwen nodded, a little excited. Shangshan, I never thought you'd become the pride of our Song family. Grandpa, don't worry, I'll definitely work hard. Song Lingshan hesitated before saying. Deep down, she knew that no matter how hard she tried, it wouldn't be as effective as Lin Yi's forced boost. Well, I know, but you're a girl, and you'll eventually have to get married. But with your strength, finding a man from an aristocratic family who's even more powerful than you is going to be difficult, Song Xiangwen said with concern. Grandpa, I told you my future husband must be stronger than me, a man of integrity. That's absolutely unwavering, Song Lingshan declared firmly. Okay, since you're thinking that, I won't force it, but I'll keep an eye on it for you, Song Xiangyuan nodded, thinking, this is a good thing. If Song Lingshan finds a man who's even more powerful than her, it's also a good thing for the Song family. Grandpa, that's not necessary, Song Lingshan said blushingly. She actually already had someone she liked, but her relationship with him was a little complicated, and she didn't want to be frank yet. With Lin Yi's dominance, Song Lingshan didn't think it was possible for her to interfere with him or change him. She couldn't possibly make him abandon Tang Yun and love only her. In Song Lingshan's mind, that was impossible. She didn't even dare to think about it. She was lucky enough not to be oppressed by Lin Yi, so how could she dare to ask him for anything? But wouldn't it be a laughing matter if word got out that the eldest granddaughter of the Song family was being someone else's mistress? Of course, that would be unless Lin Yi possessed absolute power to silence those people and make them envy her, Song Lingshan, for being Lin Yi's mistress. Others wanted it, but Lin Yi wouldn't want it. Lin Yi, can you do it? Song Lingshan was filled with anticipation. She wasn't a shameless type. She could swallow her pride in front of Lin Yi because it was just a matter between them, like a flirtation between lovers. No one else could see, so it didn't matter. But in front of outsiders, that wasn't an option. Song Lingshan had her own pride, and a very strong one at that. Song Xiangyuan took her words as a bit of a coquettish plea. So he chuckled and said, it's okay. I'll keep an eye out for any promising young men. Okay, Grandpa, let's put that aside. I need to take a shower. I just had a breakthrough, and I'm soaked in sweat. Song Lingshan didn't want to discuss the topic any further. Okay, go ahead. If you have good news, tell me immediately. Song Xiangyuan happily hung up the phone. He was delighted, his granddaughter was his pride. However, like other patriarchs of large families, Song Xiangyuan had a serious patriarchal bias. He believed that the family business must be inherited by a man. He couldn't let it fall into the hands of an outsider. Chapter 1093 The Yu family's plan. Of course, unless Song Lingshan never married, or married off to a wimpy grandson-in-law, that would be in the Song family's best interests. Song Xiangyuan believed that with Song Lingshan's skills, she would surely find a more powerful man. However, the most urgent matter was to inform the Yu family of this good news. This year's aristocratic family conference was about to begin, and Song Lingshan's breakthrough undoubtedly strengthened the Song family's position there. The strength of an aristocratic family must be judged comprehensively. The current most powerful individual was one factor, as was financial resources, but the most important factor was undoubtedly the strength of the younger generation. After all, young people were the future hope of each aristocratic family. And Song Lingshan had undoubtedly become the most powerful member of the family, aside from the mysterious Yu family disciple. Although the Yu family had experienced a number of major events recently, Yu Bide was beaten to death and Yu Kun was crippled, this did not affect the family's standing. The Song family believed that there were hidden aristocratic families behind the Yu family, and they could not help but stand up for the Yu family. Furthermore, the Yu family also had an Earth-level expert who had gone to Haiden family to cultivate. With such powerful backgrounds, the Yu family's foundation was built. Losing Yu Bide and Yu Kun was nothing. It was impossible for the Yu family to conceal these matters. Which of these families didn't have their own sources of information? However, in the eyes of these families, anyone who opposed the Yu family was simply fed up with life. The consequences of actually engaging in a fight with the Yu family were unimaginable. Hello, Yu Shuxing answered the phone. He had been feeling rather down lately, frustrated by the events surrounding Yu Bide and Yu Kun. Now that Yu Feng was gone, he was left alone within the Yu family. And with no good news from Yu Feng, Yu Shuxing suddenly had a foreboding feeling. Was Lin Yi so mysterious that he was difficult to investigate? Otherwise, with Yu Feng's means, he would surely be able to gather some information. There was also no movement from the Yu family's eldest brother, and it was uncertain whether he would be able to return. This put Yu Shuxing in a dilemma. He even felt a little regretful. If he hadn't let Xiao Kun go to Songshan City to look for the incomplete map, then none of this would have happened. Lin Yi's strength had already exceeded the Yu family's expectations. It seemed that the Yu family had provoked an enemy they shouldn't have provoked. But what's the use of regretting now? The person is already dead, and the revenge must be taken. Mr. Yu? I'm Song Xiangyuan. According to seniority, Song Xiangwen is Yu Shuxing's elder, but now the Yu family is in its heyday, and Yu Shuxing is also the current head of the Yu family. At the family conference, he is on equal footing with him, Song Xiangwen, and even has a slightly higher status. So Song Xiangwen had to call Yu Shuxing Mr. Yu. Hello, Patriarch Song. Yu Shuxing's attitude immediately improved when he heard it was Song Xiangwen. Although he was unhappy, he also knew that he couldn't vent his dissatisfaction in front of other family heads. The Yu family is already in trouble. To protect its interests, he can't afford to antagonize other aristocratic families, especially powerful ones like the Song family. He must win them over to maintain the Yu family's status as an aristocratic family. It seems the hidden aristocratic family is being ambiguous, neither stepping forward nor staying in the spotlight. So, Yu Shuxing has no choice but to figure things out on his own. At the very least, at the upcoming aristocratic family conference, the Yu family must remain the leader and have the final say. Haha, Mr. Yu, I have good news for you. My granddaughter Shanshan has successfully broken through to the peak of the late yellow rank, and has even reached a great perfection, Song Xiangwen said cheerfully. Before the aristocratic family conference, each family will inform the organizers of their strength. This helps to plan the seating arrangements for the conference. The strongest will naturally sit at the top of the rankings. Oh? Song Lingshan? She's already reached the peak of the late yellow rank. Yu Shuxing was slightly taken aback. He remembered that Song Xiangwen had just told him that Song Lingshan had just broken through to the late yellow rank. It had only been a short time, and yet she had already reached the peak of the late yellow rank, reaching great perfection. Would that mean she was only one step away from the early profound rank? Yu Shuxing was astonished by Song Lingshan's improvement. The girls from other aristocratic families were all his targets. His interest wasn't due to lust or any malicious intent. He simply wanted to find a suitable marriage for his son, thereby solidifying the Yu family's position. Song Lingshan, Chen Yushu, Sun Jinggai, and Liu Jing'an were all candidates for Yu Shuxing's investigation. It wasn't that other aristocratic families had these three girls, but that they were similar to Yu Feng, and only these girls were of the right age. Of course, the first person Yu Shuxing ruled out was Chen Yushu. In the eyes of the Yu family, the Chen family was essentially doomed. With old Master Chen's death, Chen Yushan's mediocre skills were simply not enough to sustain the Chen family's position. Moreover, Chen Yushu is not a cultivator and has no use at all. In other words, it's fine to have her as a concubine for his son, but it's definitely not possible to have her as the main wife. Therefore, the remaining candidates for investigation are Song Lingshan, Sun Jinggai and Liu Jinghan. Although Liu Jinghan has shown her business talent, according to the information, she is not a cultivator. The Liu family started out in business and politics, and there are no cultivators. So Liu Jing'an was also excluded by Yu Shuxing. The only ones left are Song Lingshan and Sun Jinggai. Song Lingshan and Sun Jinggai are both authentic cultivators. But there are also big differences between the two. The Song family's Kung Fu is normal Kung Fu, but it can assist in dual cultivation and enhance the strength of the future husband. However, the effect of dual cultivation also depends on the practitioner's physique, which is different for each person. The Sun family's Kung Fu is an auxiliary healing method. The Sun family's Kung Fu can heal injuries and can also convert true energy for others to use. Moreover, in terms of family status, the Sun family is more stable. Although the Sun family members are not good at attacking, this kind of auxiliary Kung Fu is also very popular. Which family would not want such a mobile hospital and mobile training room? Marrying Sun Jinggai can assist Yu Feng in training and healing. At that time, even if Yu Feng is injured in the meridians like Yu Kun, he can slowly recover under Sun Jinggai's care. Although the recovery speed of the Sun family's first-level Kung Fu is really not satisfactory, there's hope. This point makes Yu Shuxing very tempted. Chapter 1094, Yu Song Marriage. But now, Yu Shuxing had changed his mind. Song Lingshan's progress had somewhat exceeded his expectations. Song Lingshan was now just one step away from reaching the Zhuan rank. If she were to marry him, it would be a boon for the Yu family. Furthermore, the Song family's martial arts would be even more effective through dual cultivation, benefiting both men and women. At that point, Song Lingshan's rise to Zhuan rank would be unstoppable, and his son could even advance further, reaching the peak of the mid to late stage Zhuan rank. Then, the Yu family would flourish once again. In time, with the support of Song Lingshan's dual cultivation, his son would break through to the earth rank. Then, he would truly be fearless. Someone like Lin Yi could be slain instantly. Zhuan rank masters were nothing compared to Earth rank masters. Although Yu Shuxing had heard that some authentic mental techniques from ancient sects could defeat foes of higher levels, these were mere legends. Who knew if they actually existed? Therefore, in Yu Shuxing's lexicon, Earth rank represented invincibility in the secular world. Congratulations, Elder Song. Thinking of the marriage with a Song family, Yu Shuxing's tone became respectful, and he directly addressed Song Xiangwen as Elder Song. He showed the attitude of a junior and no longer addressed him as the head of the Song family in a formal manner. Haha, it's okay, Song Xiangwen said modestly with a hint of pride, and then said, it's just that, after all, she is a girl, so she will be given to other families in the future. Haha, old Song is exaggerating. Yu Shuxing laughed and said, now the times have progressed, and those of us from aristocratic families must keep pace with the times. There is a saying now that it doesn't matter whether you have a boy or a girl. Now that Song Lingshan is married, she is no longer your granddaughter, old Song? Or is she? Haha, Song Xiangwen also smiled and said, having said that, in the end, the person who holds the position of the head of an aristocratic family must be a man. It can't be given to outsiders, right? That's true. The situation in our aristocratic family is a bit different. Yu Shuxing smiled and said, speaking of getting married, I remembered one thing. Your granddaughter is not a child this year, right? It's time to find a husband-in-law, right? That's true, but Shanshan is quite stubborn. She's already said that her future husband must be stronger than her, Song Xiangwen said with some helplessness but also with pride. What if others are not qualified to say this? Now that Song Lingshan is strong, he can do this. Haha, that's what all good girls are like. Yu Shuxing was naturally delighted to hear that Song Lingshan still hadn't found a husband. He then said, but I think Song Lingshan is the most outstanding among those aristocratic families, right? How could anyone be better than her? As far as I know, there aren't any other aristocratic family members who have reached the peak of the late Wang rank. Yes, that's what worries me, Song Xiangwen sighed. Shanshan's strength is growing stronger and stronger now. She's on the verge of breaking through to the Zhuan rank. At that time, she'll be unrivaled. She can't possibly stay single forever, can she? While having another Zhuan rank expert was a good thing for the Song family, if Song Lingshan didn't marry, the family wouldn't benefit from it. Furthermore, he didn't want his granddaughter to end up alone. So, there are two sides to every coin. On the one hand, Song Xiangwen wanted Song Lingshan to become stronger, but on the other, he didn't want her to be unmarried. Haha, old Song, what do you think of my son? This was exactly what Yu Shuxing wanted Song Xiangwen to say, and he offered his own perspective. Oh? Your son? Song Xiangwen asked, taken aback. Yes, Yu Shuxing said, right now, among the aristocratic families, the only ones who can rival Song Lingshan are the descendants of our Yu family. If Elder Song is willing, we could become in-laws. Song Xiangwen was stunned. He hadn't expected even the Yu family to extend an olive branch to him. In the past, marrying into the Yu family was something Song Xiangwen hadn't dared to contemplate, but now, with Song Lingshan's increased strength, it's all become a reality. Why, Elder Song, it seems you're reluctant, Yu Shuxing asked with a smile. How could that be? I'm shocked. By the way, your son has never been in the public eye. He's now, Song Xiangwen thought. While a marriage into the Yu family would be desirable, if the Yu family's children were too weak, Song Lingshan would definitely not agree. So he had to ask for details first. My son is currently a mid-stage one-level expert, Yu Shuxing said this, a hint of pride rising to his voice. Among these aristocratic families, only the younger generation of the Yu family had reached such prominence. What? Your son is already a mid-level one-level expert? Song Xiangwen was shocked upon hearing Yu Shuxing's words. So, a mid-level one-level expert was more than enough for his granddaughter. The thought of this filled Song Xiangwen with joy. Not only had he found a rare and wonderful grandson-in-law, but he also had the support of the Yu family. Haha, he's probably close to a breakthrough, Yu Shuxing began boasting. So young, and already a one-level expert, Song Xiangwen couldn't help but sigh. I'm really getting old, so, what do you think of my proposal, Elder Song? Yu Shuxing asked. Excellent. I have no objection. Song Xiangwen was naturally 100% satisfied. This was a godsend. The Song family's troubles were solved. With the Yu family's support, The Song family could continue to dominate the aristocratic families. Moreover, Yu Feng's abilities perfectly met his granddaughter's criteria for a mate. Surely, she would be very pleased. Alright, if Elder Song has no objections, let's settle this. Yu Shuxing agreed immediately, then said, in a few days, I'll take my son to visit Elder Song and finalize the matter. Although Yu Shuxing was the head of the Yu family, he was still a junior, and since they were marrying into the Song family, Elder Song was a true elder, so naturally he had to pay him a visit. Song Xiangwen didn't refuse. Okay, I'll do my best to be a good host when the time comes, Song Xiangwen said happily. Song Lingshan didn't know yet that her marriage had been finalized by her grandfather. If she knew, she would probably be furious. How could she possibly marry into the Yu family? But Song Xiangwen still thought his granddaughter would be very happy about it. After finishing his conversation with Song Xiangwen, Yu Shuxing called his son Yu Feng again. He decided to discuss the matter with him and inquire about his progress. Chapter 1095 Yu Feng clears away the haze. Yu Feng had been feeling quite depressed these past few days. Before he'd even figured out Lin Yi's true identity, he'd already been on the wrong foot and suffered a series of injuries. Not only had he been beaten twice for no apparent reason, but his butt was also bruised. Consequently, he hadn't reported anything to his father for the past few days. This was already embarrassing enough, so it was hard to report anything further. Unexpectedly, before Yu Feng could report anything, his father called. Yu Feng hesitated before answering. Hello? Father, Yu Feng said. Yu Feng, how are you? Have you adjusted to Songshan after all these days? Yu Shuxing asked with a smile. His son was his pride, the pride of the Yu family. The future of the Yu family depended on Yu Feng. Not bad, Yu Feng said, his voice visibly stagnant. He felt a little embarrassed to speak to his father. This was truly humiliating. As the eldest son of the Yu family, he had arrived in Songshan City full of ambition, ready to make a name for himself. But to his surprise, his luck kept running out. Before he could even begin to interact with Lin Yi, he was beaten up by some unrelated people. If he was really beaten by Lin Yi, then Yu Feng would not say anything. In order to investigate Lin Yi's background, he would accept a little loss. However, the key problem is that Lin Yi did not make a move. How is it? Have you figured out Lin Yi's background? Yu Shuxing did not hear the disappointment in his son's words, and still asked with a smile. There are no loopholes yet, and I can't make any moves to test it, Yu Feng said depressedly. I have a feeling I don't know where to start. Well, it's okay, just stay in Songshan City for now, there are other things to do. Yu Shuxing was not in a hurry. Other things? Yu Feng was stunned. What else? Haha, of course there are. Yu Feng, you are not young anymore, I have arranged a marriage for you, Yu Shuxing said with a smile. Marriage? Yu Feng was slightly stunned. He did not object to the family's arrangement of marriage. Living in an aristocratic family since childhood, he knew that his marriage was actually a bargaining chip for interests, and it would definitely be decided by his father at that time. Of course, Yu Feng didn't care at all. He was a man, and even if he married a woman he didn't like or wasn't pretty, he could still secretly keep a mistress. This was no secret among the sons of aristocratic families. So, the woman suffered the most in an arranged marriage. Not only did she marry a man she didn't like, she also faced the possibility of being left alone, and it was impossible for her to have affairs. It was just so unfair. A man who cheated was considered a playboy, while a woman who cheated was considered unfaithful. So, Yu Feng didn't care at all about the arranged marriage. After a moment's pause, he asked, does this have anything to do with me being in Songshan City? Yes, the one I'm betrothing you is Song Lingshan, the granddaughter of the Song family. She's already reached the peak of the late yellow rank, Yu Shuxing smiled. She's not bad, quite talented. She's already reached the peak of the late yellow rank at such a young age. I'm very optimistic about her. Song Lingshan, Yu Feng realized the name immediately. Song Lingshan from the Song family, I think I've met her once. She seems quite good, more than just good. When Yu Feng heard that the person he was going to marry was Song Lingshan, he was immediately overjoyed. Song Lingshan was not only beautiful, but also had a good figure and big breasts. Yu Feng wanted to giggle. He would be so happy in the future if he could get such a top-notch woman to be his wife. Originally, Yu Feng didn't have much interest in the woman he was going to marry. After all, The Yu family focused on the overall interests. If he got an ugly woman, Zhu Yufeng would have no choice but to accept it. Anyway, as long as the marriage could last, he could occasionally visit this woman and have fun on his own the rest of the time. But his father's words ignited the fire of desire in Zhu Yufeng's heart. He was so lucky. Well, I think it's not bad. She is currently working at the Songshan City Police Department, so what I mean is that you stay in Songshan City, get in touch with her first, cultivate your relationship, and after a while, when Lin Yi's matter is over, you and I will go to the Song family to visit and formally propose marriage, Yu Shuxing said. Okay, no problem, Zhu Yufeng agreed hurriedly. This was a pleasant surprise for him. He was worried that life in Songshan City was a bit boring, and now he had something to do. Picking up girls has always been Zhu Yufeng's favorite. It's best to have some sex with her in advance to solidify your relationship. Otherwise, the granddaughter of the Song family is very outstanding, and I'm afraid of being targeted by others, Yu Shuxing warned his son. I heard that Chen Yushan of the Chen family has been pursuing Song Lingshan for several years. The Song family's Kung Fu is a top-level dual cultivation internal skill, which will be good for you too. I know, don't worry, father, I will definitely take care of this. Zhu Yufeng was afraid that his father would ask him to treat Song Lingshan politely before marriage, but what he didn't expect was that his father actually asked him to find an opportunity to sleep with Song Lingshan. Well, by the way, how is your Kung Fu? Have you made any progress? You have been stuck at the peak of the early Zhuan stage for a while, right? Are there any signs of a breakthrough? Yu Shuxing asked. Not yet. Zhu Yufeng had been so depressed for the past 2 days that he couldn't even think about practicing. I've already spread the word that you're a mid-level Xuanyuan master. Don't let it slip in front of Song Lingshan, Yu Shuxing warned. Oh? Why did you say I'm a mid-level Xuanyuan? Zhu Yufeng was stunned. The old lady of the Song family, Song Lingshan's grandmother, is a mid-level Xuanyuan master, so I deliberately spread the word about you so that I can give you more influence within the Song family, Yu Shuxing said. Zhu Yufeng was stunned for a moment, then he understood his father's intentions. He couldn't help but sigh. Old people are always wise. My father is so cunning. In aristocratic families, status is always determined by strength. The higher the strength, the greater the influence. In the Song family, if Zhu Yufeng possessed the same strength as the old lady, he would be on par with her. In this way, Zhu Yufeng's status within the Song family would skyrocket. But won't that reveal any flaws? Zhu Yufeng asked hesitantly. No, they won't check your strength. How would they know if you don't circulate your ki? Yu Shuxing said nonchalantly. Besides, it's still some time before you get married. By then, you might have already achieved a breakthrough. That's true, Zhu Yufeng nodded. Chapter 1096. Let's travel together. This call actually made Zhu Yufeng somewhat happy. His father had assigned him another relatively straightforward task, and Zhu Yufeng's previous gloomy mood vanished. His father hadn't set a time limit for Lin Yi's investigation, nor had he mentioned it much this time. His main task was to deal with Song Lingshan. Zhu Yufeng loved this task. To give his granddaughter a surprise, Song Xuanyuan, the Song family's patriarch, withheld the news of her marriage. He believed his granddaughter would be delighted after hearing the news. After all, Song Lingshan's wish was for a man stronger than herself, and in Song Xuanyuan's opinion, this man could only be a member of the Yu family. No other family could possess such formidable strength. Lin Yi had no idea that Song Lingshan's jubilant call to her family would cause so much unnecessary trouble. By the time Lin Yi emerged from Song Lingshan's apartment, it was already late, and the gentle night breeze cleared his mind considerably. Song Lingshan's allure nearly overwhelmed Lin Yi. Since settling into this relaxed lifestyle, he'd noticed a shift in his mood. He was no longer as cold and ruthless as before, nor as hard-hearted as before. He was now more easily moved and moved. While his life seemed more vibrant, Lin Yi didn't know whether this was a good thing or a bad thing. He got into his car and headed home, but on the way, he pondered a crucial question. Currently, Lin Yi's biggest weakness was his lack of helpers. Of all the experts around him, he was arguably the most powerful. Although Lin Yi desperately wanted to elevate Uncle Fu, General Weiwu, and Song Lingshan to higher levels, he was powerless. While the energy within the jade pendant space was boundless, transmitting it through his own medium encountered a bottleneck. This bottleneck stemmed from his own strength limitations. At the Zhuan level, he could only elevate others to the peak of the late Wang level, not even a single point higher. Therefore, if Lin Yi wanted to make others stronger, he had to become stronger first. Only after Lin Yi reached the earth rank could he raise those around him to the profound rank. However, this always felt like a waste of resources. He was already an earth rank expert, and having a profound rank expert as his helper wouldn't be that effective. It would be great if others could directly draw energy from the jade pendant's space. But even if they could, Lin Yi didn't want anyone to know his secret. This secret was his life-saving trump card, and the only people he would share it with were those closest to him. If Tang Yun were also a cultivator, Lin Yi would share this secret without hesitation. Tang Yun's feelings for him were clear to Lin Yi. She was a girl who had never left him, even wanting to drop out of school to accompany him back home to farm. But Lin Yi didn't trust the others enough. Of course, even if he did, he couldn't let them directly absorb the energy from the jade pendant's space. It would be much easier if the energy in the jade pendant could be released and transferred without loss, but Lin Yi was just thinking about it. When he returned to his villa, he saw Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu sitting around the coffee table, flipping through a pile of posters. For the first time, they weren't watching TV. Seeing Lin Yi return, the young lady simply nodded, showing neither joy nor displeasure. Lin Yi was used to this, the young lady was just that indifferent. Chen Yashu, however, called out impatiently, "Brother Arrow, why did you just get back? Come and help me and Sister Yao decide where we should go for fun." Where to go? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. He walked over to the sofa next to Chen Yashu and sat down, asking curiously, "What to do? It's a long holiday for May Day. Sister Yao and I are planning to go out for fun." "Brother Arrow, where do you think we should go?" Chen Yashu explained, gesturing to the pile of posters advertising travel agencies and tourist attractions on the coffee table. "Sister Yao and I are a little overwhelmed. Can you help us take a look?" May Day holiday. Lin Yi suddenly remembered that May Day was International Labor Day, a legal holiday. He had become one of the ordinary people. Before, Lin Yi had no holidays. Whenever a mission came, he would work, and whenever there was no mission, it was a holiday. Therefore, Lin Yi had a very indifferent concept of holidays. It wasn't until Chen Yashu's words today that he realized that as a student, he naturally had holidays too. Yet, Chen Yashu nodded, handing Lin Yi a stack of posters. "Where do you want to go?" Lin Yi didn't look at the posters, but casually set them aside. "The promotions here are a bit exaggerated. It's useless whether you look at them or not. But my pharmaceutical company is opening on May Day, and I can't leave. How about you two go? Then May 2nd is fine. I can have a few days off anyway," Chen Yashu said nonchalantly. "Right, Sister Yao? Yes, Lin Yi, I mean to invite Tang Yun and Pengzhan Group to go with us." Chu Mengyao nodded and looked up at Lin Yi. The eldest lady's words surprised Lin Yi. He hadn't expected her to actually invite Tang Yun and Pengzhan Group. But then again, the eldest lady was always very reasonable, so Lin Yi wasn't surprised by her decision. It was just that she said it herself, rather than through Chen Yashu, that made Lin Yi feel a little strange. "That's fine, but I saw Xiao's wish on her phone. She wants to go to the beach to watch the sunrise. Why don't we go on a road trip to the beach? We won't have to follow the tour group." Lin Yi remembered Xiao's wish to watch the sunrise and eat fried eggs, but Lin Yi felt puzzled and amused when he thought about it. Lin Yi really couldn't figure it out. What was the necessary connection between watching the sunrise and eating fried eggs? How did Pengzhan connect these two things together? "Okay," Chu Mengyao didn't object, but just said, "Then you can arrange it." "Oh, great, I can go catch sharks to eat again," Chen Yashu applauded. Chen Yashu still agreed with going to the beach. Lin Yi shrugged. The matter was settled, and Lin Yi prepared to go back to the room to take a shower. Chapter 1097 The Chu Family in Crisis. As for the posters, Chu Mengyao casually put them away. Just looking at Lin Yi's back, Chu Mengyao had an indescribable feeling in her heart. Lin Yi, he was spending less and less time in the villa, especially on weekends. In the past, Lin Yi would stay at home with her and Xiaoshu, but now, he often left early and came back late. Although Chu Mengyao knew that she could not interfere with Lin Yi's actions, she still felt a little disappointed. "Sister Yao, what's wrong with you? You look very disappointed." Chen Yashu looked at Chu Mengyao, who was in a bad mood, and asked with a smile, "Is it because Brother Arrow hasn't been in the villa all day today?" "Don't talk nonsense, how can I be disappointed? Lin Yi has important things to do, and Feng Xiaoxiao's days are numbered. I'm not an ignorant person. Even if he didn't fulfill his duties as a follower, it doesn't matter, Chu Mengyao said lightly. Actually, Sister Yao, you can also pretend to be sick, Chen Yushu suggested to Chu Mengyao. This way Brother Arrow can accompany you. What nonsense? Pretend if you want to. Chu Mengyao glared at her and turned on the TV. Chen Yushu's idea was too far-fetched. Who was Lin Yi? He was already a medical expert. If Lin Yi knew she was faking her illness, wouldn't that be a joke? Chu Mengyao wouldn't do such a foolish thing. In a dark room in the Dark Knight Palace, Palace Master Weiner, wearing plain clothes, sat on the bed, lost in thought. So many days had passed. Were they all okay? Had they resolved their conflicts with the Yu and Zhao families, and the hidden Zhao family? She was worried, but powerless. She was under house arrest by the Grand Elder, and outside the room were two elders as powerful as her, guarding her. Palace Master Weiner couldn't escape at all. Sometimes, Palace Master Weiner wanted to die, but she knew she couldn't. If she died, who would avenge her husband and daughter? At this point, she could only practice harder, break through to the heavenly stage as soon as possible, and descend the mountain as soon as possible to avenge her husband and daughter. The sound of footsteps outside the room startled Palace Master Weiner. It wasn't dinner time, and the elders guarding the palace wouldn't easily wander or enter their rooms. But the sound of footsteps outside clearly indicated someone was coming. Sure enough, the door opened shortly, and in walked the Grand Elder and Elderly. Grand Elder, Elderly, Palace Master Weiner, though somewhat annoyed by the Grand Elder's house arrest, showed no disrespect in front of her. After all, she understood that while the Grand Elder was stubborn and ruthless, everything she did was for the Dark Knight Palace. She had never married, simply because she had dedicated her entire life to the Dark Knight Palace, a dream she held for the very first place in the martial arts world. Weiner, you may leave, the Grand Elder announced calmly. Palace Master Weiner was taken aback by the Grand Elder's words. She hadn't expected the Grand Elder to actually let her out. Surprised, he couldn't help but look at Elderly. Was it his efforts? When Elderly saw Palace Master Weiner looking at him, he couldn't help but shook his head with a wry smile and said, "Congratulations to Palace Master, son-in-law and young lady." Ahem. Before Elderly finished speaking, the Supreme Elder interrupted him. What son-in-law? Where did the son-in-law come from? This. Elderly was suddenly embarrassed after hearing the words of the Supreme Elder. He quickly changed his words and said, "It's Mr. Chu Pengzhan and Miss Chu Mengyao." Nothing happened anymore. They are safe. Palace Master Weiner exclaimed, and couldn't help but be surprised and happy. The worries of many days were finally swept away. They are finally fine, finally safe. Palace Master Weiner was instantly overjoyed. Elderly, were you the one who took action? No, this time, I misjudged Lin Yi. Lin Yi killed Yubida, the younger brother of the Yu family's patriarch. Lin Yi also beat Paibo, the Zhao family's guard, into vegetative state. The Chu family's crisis is now resolved, Elderly exclaimed. Great, Palace Master Weiner breathed a sigh of relief, exclaiming joyfully, this Lin Yi is truly remarkable. I didn't expect him to actually resolve this crisis. Wasn't he injured? Maybe he was faking it, just to get these opponents to jump out. Elderly didn't understand the key to this. After all, even the Yu and Zhao families involved weren't fully aware of the situation. It was naturally impossible for Elderly to know the key to this. Just a few profound-level clowns. Nothing serious. The Grand Elder didn't have any particular opinion of Lin Yi. He simply frowned and said with a hint of disapproval, Weiner, you can leave. With that, the Grand Elder turned and left. In fact, she was a little depressed. Why didn't the adulterer and the bastard die? After death, Weiner would have no worries and could break through to the heavenly stage without desire or emotion. Being bound by emotions is never a good thing for a cultivator. She is a heartless person. She has never been in love and does not understand the thoughts between lovers. In her opinion, emotions are all lies. Only strength is the key. After the Grand Elder left, Elderly smiled bitterly and breathed a sigh of relief, saying, Miss, the Grand Elder is just like this. You shouldn't hold a grudge against her. I know, how could I hold a grudge? Her ideas are different from mine, but her original intention is good. She is also for our Dark Knight Palace. Yes, Elderly nodded and said in a low voice, Miss, although this time, The son-in-law and the young lady have safely overcome the difficulties, but because of this, they have forged an irreconcilable feud with the Yu family and the Xiao family. I wonder if the hidden Yu family behind the Yu family will come out to help them find a place? And the Xiao family's guard, Paibo, his background should not be underestimated. His family is also a hidden family, and behind him is the Xuanyuan sect supporting him. The Xuanyuan sect and our Dark Knight Palace have always had some conflicts. I'm afraid this time, Palace Master Weiner thought that everything was resolved, but she didn't expect that things had just begun. Behind the Yu family is the hidden Yu family. Among all the hidden families, the hidden Yu family is also the strongest existence. It can be said that it is no less than an ancient sect. The Xiao family's guard, Paibo, is actually from a hidden aristocratic family. The most important thing is that behind him, he has the support of the Xuanyuan sect. Chapter 1098. Once you enter the palace, it's like entering a deep sea. Chapter 1089. Once inside the palace, it's like entering a deep sea. So, Chu Pengzhan and Chu Mengyao's danger isn't over yet? How should they deal with it? Thinking of this, Palace Master Weiner couldn't help but show a hint of anxiety on her face. Although she had regained her freedom, she was helpless. She couldn't just go down the mountain and stay with Chu Pengzhan and Chu Mengyao, could she? Furthermore, even though she was free, it was still uncertain whether she could leave the mountain. I believe the Grand Elder had already ordered her not to leave. Miss, we can't do anything about these things for now, but fortunately, the hidden Yu family hasn't made any moves yet, and the hidden family that Paibo belongs to doesn't seem to have learned of this. Elder Li sighed. For now, we can only wait and see. However, the Chu family's greatest crisis right now isn't the hidden Yu family and Paibo's hidden family, but something else entirely. Uncle Li, why are there other problems? Palace Master Weiner was slightly taken aback and asked worriedly. As far as I know, Maju's master, Jin Wudi, has submitted an application to the Hidden Family Arbitration Association, intending to go out and seek revenge for Lin Yi and his apprentice. Whether this will affect the Chu family is unclear. Elder Li sighed, then nodded solemnly. But what can be done? What is Maju's master's strength? Asked Palace Master Weiner. According to my investigation, he's an Earth rank master, possessing the strength of an early Earth rank cultivator, Elder Li said. Furthermore, if his application is approved by the Hidden Family Arbitration Association, Lin Yi will likely be no match for him. Elder Li, Weiner requests that you please inform Yao's bodyguard, Lin Yi, of this news as soon as possible so that he can prepare for it. Palace Master Weiner knew Elder Li wouldn't be able to intervene, and she couldn't leave the mountain. She could only relay the message through the Shadow Group. While the Shadow Group's Qinggong skills were impressive, their strength was mediocre, making them of little help. The only thing they could do was pass on the message. Don't worry, young lady. I can still do this. I have direct subordinates in the Shadow Group, and I'll pass this news to Lin Yi as soon as possible. Elder Li nodded. That's all I can do. Thank you, Uncle Li, Palace Master Weiner said helplessly, a trace of deep worry and sorrow crossing her delicate face. As the saying goes, once you enter the palace, you're in the depths of the world. While this palace may not be the same as that one, the principle remains the same. An SUV trudged along the mountain road, driven by Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu in the passenger seat. Brother Liang, we're about to see Peozi. I'm so excited, Gao Xiaofu said excitedly, looking out the window. Don't talk nonsense for a while. These are all martial arts masters. We're nothing in their eyes. Don't cause any trouble, Zhong Pinliang warned Gao Xiaofu calmly. Don't worry, Brother Liang, I know my limits. Gao Xiaofu nodded quickly. He felt that Zhong Pinliang had become much more reserved recently, losing his previous arrogance and developing a calmness more similar to Lin Yi's. Zhong Pinliang nodded, saying nothing more, and continued driving. Half an hour later, the car arrived in front of a checkpoint. This was not a formal checkpoint, but one set up privately by a sect on the mountain. This kind of place was neither a tourist attraction nor a major transportation route, so no one except a visiting sect would pass through it. What are you doing? A young man in black approached and knocked on Zhong Pinliang's car window. Zhong Pinliang quickly opened the window and said respectfully, Hello, we're here to visit Zhang Nepeo. Zhang Nepeo? Are you friends of junior brother Nepeo? The young man, upon hearing Zhang Nepeo's name, immediately became respectful and his attitude towards Zhong Pinliang became very friendly. Yes, we are Zhang Nepeo's good brothers. We are here to visit Brother Napeo. Zhong Pinliang nodded, but he was a little shocked. It seems that Zhang Napeo is doing well here. Zhong Pinliang has now learned to observe people's words and expressions. Seeing the expression of this young man, he knew that he must be very respectful to Zhang Napeo, so he also became respectful to himself. Zhong Pinliang is very clear about the rules here. If you want to gain respect from others, the only thing you can rely on is your own strength. This person calls Zhang Napeo junior brother, but respects Zhang Napeo so much? The only explanation is that Zhang Napeo is very powerful. He is already stronger than many of his senior brothers. Thinking of this, Zhong Pinliang couldn't help but feel secretly excited. It seems that he really didn't make a mistake about him. He didn't expect Zhang Napeo to be a good cultivator. Zhong Pinliang couldn't wait to know what level of cultivation Zhang Napeo had reached. Junior brother Zhang, stay here for a while. I'll take them up the mountain. Their junior brother Napeo's friends, the young man instructed another man nearby. Hearing Zhang Napeo's name, the other man's face lit up with a solemn expression. He nodded, okay, leave it to me. The road above was no longer passable, so Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu got out of the car and followed the young man up the mountain. After walking for a while, Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu were visibly exhausted, but the young man walked briskly, seemingly unfazed by the ruggedness of the mountain path. In fact, as the lowest-ranking mountain patrol disciple, he had to run up and down the mountain several times a day. It had become a daily routine. Brother, you're quite strong. We can't, Zhong Pinliang said breathlessly. I'm only a lowly disciple. Junior brother Napeo, haha, is much more powerful than me, the young man said enviously. After hearing what the young man said, Zhong Pinliang was more and more surprised. He didn't know what Zhang Napeo had done, but he seemed to be doing quite well. This man had admired him several times in a row. If he wasn't really amazing, it would be fine if he complimented him once, but he wouldn't compliment him so many times. Is Napeo very powerful now? Gao Xiaofu couldn't help asking. That's quite powerful. However, there is a reason why he can succeed. His willpower is so strong that we can't compare to him. He actually gave up in order to practice martial arts. I won't say more, you will know when you see him, the young man said admiringly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1099 Going Up a Mountain to Visit. The more the young man spoke, the more horrified Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu grew. It seemed Zhang Napeo had paid a heavy price for his training. The mountain path was only a little bumpy at first, but it flattened out after that. The closer they got to the sect's main gate, the easier it became. It must have been specially repaired. We're here, the young man pointed to the nearby mountain gate and said to Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu, although you are friends of junior brother Napeo, according to sect rules, outsiders must notify us before entering. Come with me to register. Okay, Zhong Pinliang naturally said he wouldn't dare act rashly. This place was incredibly powerful, and he wouldn't dare show any disrespect. Zhong Pinliang and Zhang Napeo followed the young man through the identity registration process, followed by a strength check. After finding nothing suspicious, the young man led them through the mountain gate. In reality, given the strength within the mountain gate, they weren't afraid of trouble. Who would be so bold as to dare to cause trouble in this ancient sect? Furthermore, it's one of the most sinister of the ancient sects, the Tomorrow Revival sect. This entity is even more powerful than the hidden aristocratic families. Even the other righteous martial arts sects have to give it some respect, let alone anyone who dares to cause trouble here. But rules are rules, a long-standing custom. Upon entering the mountain gate, Zhong Pinliang saw many disciples practicing martial arts, their laughter making him somewhat envious. These are the most ordinary outer disciples, not even as good as me, just beginners. The young man seemed to see Zhong Pinliang's thoughts and explained calmly, these people lack talent and can only practice some rudimentary external martial arts. They are also unwilling to endure hardship, so their achievements are limited. Oh, Zhong Pinliang nodded. Then Napeo is an inner disciple, and was personally accepted as a registered disciple by the founder of the Crazy Bull, Mr. Yiheng. At this, the young man was even more envious. Crazy Bull, Zhong Pinliang was slightly surprised. He's the chief protector of our tomorrow's restoration sect, and he's a truly ruthless individual, the young man said respectfully. He once killed a righteous heavenly rank master from the martial arts world with a single punch. Huh? So impressive? Zhong Pinliang gasped. In his opinion, Zhuang rank masters were already supremely invincible, so how could someone here possibly kill a heavenly rank master? Would that mean he was truly invincible? The thought of this intensified Zhong Pinliang's excitement. So, if Zhang Neipao had won the favor of the Magbull Patriarch, then if he only had to master 10% of his power, killing Lin Yi would be a piece of cake. How? Yes. He's our sect's chief protector, how could he possibly be joking? The young man said proudly. Of course, there was a bit of bragging in his words, which Zhong Pinliang was naturally unaware of. Although Zhong Pinliang was shocked, he remained composed. Gao Xiaofu, on the other hand, was beaming with joy. He had never imagined that Zhang Neipao's master was so formidable. When Black Panther was nearly beaten to death by Lin Yi, Gao Xiaofu had a traumatic experience, believing Black Panther's abilities to be nothing special. However, he hadn't expected his master to be quite powerful. It was just Black Panther himself. However, Zhong Pinliang had a different thought. He thought that Black Panther had been able to forcibly elevate his power level from an ordinary person to the early yellow rank through a single internal cultivation technique. This was simply a bit exaggerated. How could a sect with such a secret technique be just an ordinary one? While it involved sacrificing one's own life, it wasn't something other sects could achieve. Therefore, Zhong Pinliang had always placed high hopes on Zhang Neipao, though he didn't explain this to Gao Xiaofu. After walking a little further, the three of them arrived at a beautiful landscape filled with flowers, but no one was around. Despite the beauty of the scenery, Zhong Pinliang felt a chill for no apparent reason. He felt a pervasive sense of evil, making him feel uneasy. The same was true for Gao Xiaofu. He felt trembling. It's here. The young man walked here. His face was a little pale. It seemed that he was not having an easy time. Junior brother Neipao is practicing in the front. The concentration of evil energy here is too high. With my strength, I am not enough to resist, so I can only bring you here. Ah. It's so cold and evil here, you can't even go in. How can we go in? Zhong Pinliang said carefully. Brother, why don't you call Neipao? Ask him to stop practicing for a while. No, disturbing junior brother Neipao's practice is a serious offense. I dare not. The young man immediately shook his head and said, call you yourselves. If junior brother Neipao blames me, I can't take it. That's fine. Zhong Pinliang nodded, but you have to tell me first, where's Zhang Neipao? It's right there. The young man pointed not far away and said, that's junior brother Neipao? Huh? Zhong Pinliang was stunned for a moment, and looked in the direction the young man pointed, but what he saw surprised Zhong Pinliang. What caught his eye was a dark mass. On the beautiful lawn, there was a black object. If you didn't look closely, you would mistake it for a reef. However, the Zhang Neipao the young man was pointing to was right here, which made Zhong Pinliang very puzzled. Brother, are you talking about Neipao? Is it him? Yes, the young man nodded. Oh, Zhong Pinliang found it a bit unbelievable, but he still shouted at the black reef, Zhang Neipao? Zhang Neipao was practicing martial arts. When he heard someone calling him, he frowned, a little annoyed. You know, no one can disturb him when he is practicing. Even the people sent by Master Kuang Yu to find him would wait until he finished practicing before calling him. However, the voice seemed very familiar. Zhang Neipao opened his eyes immediately. He remembered the owner of the voice and suddenly felt excited. He stood up suddenly and waved his hand, dispelling the black object from his body. It turned out that the black layer attached to Zhang Neipao's body was actually a swarm of black poisonous bees. However, what is surprising is that although the poisonous bee attached to the surface of Zhang Neipao's body, it did not sting Zhang Neipao and cause any swelling. Apart from being a little dark, there was nothing wrong with Zhang Neipao's upper body. Chapter 1100 You've been tricked. Brother Liang, Zhang Neipao stood up and quickly ran towards the owner of the voice. It was obvious that Zhang Neipao was extremely excited at this moment. Neipao? Zhong Pinliang had not expected that Zhang Neipao's body would be covered with a layer of poisonous bees. This made him feel palpitating, but also a little excited. It seemed that Zhang Neipao's kung fu was extraordinary. Seeing that Neipao's junior brother recognized a visitor, the young man also tactfully stepped aside and said goodbye. Although he called Zhang Neipao his junior brother within the sect, Zhang Neipao's status and strength had long surpassed his. Apart from the same disciple generation, the two were completely different in other aspects. Brother Liang, I didn't expect you to come to see me. Zhang Neipao was also extremely excited. He thought that after going up the mountain, he would never see Zhong Pinliang again except when he was going down the mountain. But Zhong Pinliang actually took the time to come up the mountain to visit him, which touched him deeply. You're my brother, and you came here to endure the hardships of cultivation for me, so naturally I have to visit you often, Zhong Pinliang said solemnly. He had long since learned to win people's hearts. He knew that Zhang Neipao would be of great use to him in the future, so he naturally felt very close to him. Brother Liang, don't say that. You are my boss, and you always will be. If it weren't for you, my family would have been destroyed long ago, so my life is yours. If you tell me to go east, I will definitely not go west, Zhang Neipao said solemnly. Good. Very good. Paozi, I was not wrong about you. Zhong Pinliang excitedly patted Zhang Neipao on the shoulder and said, by the way, Paozi, what kind of martial arts are you practicing? Why are you so scary? There's a really evil aura around here. I practice the bee-sucking technique. Zhang Neipao didn't hide anything and directly told Zhong Pinliang the martial arts he practiced. Bee-sucking art, Zhong Pinliang was stunned. Does it have anything to do with star-sucking art? No, bee-sucking art is a technique for absorbing bee venom. I rely on bee venom to increase my strength, Zhang Neipao explained. Currently, there is too little spiritual energy in the world. If I follow the normal practice method, it will be difficult to make any progress. My tomorrow resurrection sect is a demonic sect. We rely on absorbing evil poison to quickly increase our strength. It's similar to absorbing true energy, but our practice process is more difficult and arduous. I see, Zhong Pinliang nodded. No wonder the crazy bull patriarch was so powerful. He could actually kill a heavenly rank master. It seems there's a reason. The skills they practice are all evil, different from those of the famous and upright sects. Since you are a demonic sect, have any famous and upright sects come to trouble you? Zhong Pinliang asked subconsciously. In front of Zhang Neipao, he didn't need to hide his thoughts. He could see that Zhang Neipao truly regarded him as his boss, so Zhong Pinliang didn't hesitate. A famous and upright sect, Zhang Neipao smiled. Brother Liang, are you talking about the plots in martial arts novels? In reality, these sects all put profit above all else. How can they have the time to come and cause trouble for us for no reason? Aren't they crazy? They can't even handle their own affairs. And they still cause trouble for others? Moreover, the so-called normal sects have a lot of dirty things. As far as I know, the famous Xuanyuan sect started out by burning, killing and looting, and specializes in doing evil things. Is that so? Zhong Pinliang didn't know the ins and outs of this, but after listening to Zhang Neipao's explanation, he realized that he was overthinking it. The demon sect was also a very powerful existence. He was afraid that after Zhang Neipao came out, he would become the public enemy of those sects. If Lin Yi couldn't beat him, he would unite with those famous and upright sects to wipe out the demon sect disciples. That would be bad, but now it seems that there are no such troubles. So what you are practicing now is the bee-sucking technique. Then what level of strength have you reached now? Zhong Pinliang asked hurriedly. Brother Liang, this bee-sucking technique is just a supplementary mental method. My main skill is called the Chrysanthemum Manual, the exclusive secret manual of the Tomorrow Reborn sect. Once mastered, I'll be invincible. Zhang Neipao concealed nothing from Zhong Pinliang. Chrysanthemum Manual, Zhong Pinliang was stunned. The name of this skill was unique and sounded very powerful. He was tempted. Paozi, can I practice it? Of course I can, but the process is very arduous. Here's the manual. Why don't you take a look first? Zhang Neipao handed Zhong Pinliang a thread-shaped book. If Zhong Pinliang really wanted to practice, Zhang Neipao's current position in the sect would make it a simple matter. Zhong Pinliang was surprised by Zhang Neipao's willingness to hand over the manual. He quickly took it and began to read. However, after reading only the first page, he was shocked. Written on the first page were 8 large characters. To practice this skill, you must first castrate yourself. Sweat started to flow down Zhong Pinliang's forehead. No way? To practice martial arts, one must castrate oneself? Would that make one a eunuch? Paozi, you are not already. Zhong Pinliang pointed to the 8 big characters on the secret book and asked carefully. That's right, Zhang Neipao sighed and nodded. I am already a eunuch now. Ah. Then I still won't practice. Zhong Pinliang's forehead was full of black lines when he heard what Zhang Neipao said. He was so scared that he quickly shook his head and said, "It's enough to have a good brother like you to practice. I will rely on you in the future." "No, Brother Liang, I was just impatient at the time. You can take a look later." Zhang Neipao pointed to the chrysanthemum manual and said to Zhong Pinliang. "Okay." Zhong Pinliang nodded, picked up the chrysanthemum manual, and turned another page. Sure enough, he saw the back page with 8 characters. "Even if you castrate yourself, you may not succeed." This, Zhong Pinliang was stunned. It turned out that this thing still has a chance of failure? Even if you castrate yourself, you may not succeed, then you can't practice even more. What if you still haven't mastered the magic skills after castration? Wouldn't that be even more terrible? There's more to come. Zhang Neipao pointed at the chrysanthemum manual and continued. Zhong Pinliang was stunned and turned another page. On the 3rd page, there were still 8 big words: "You can succeed without castration." Zhong Pinliang's eyes widened immediately. "No way? Paozi, you've been cheated, you can say that. But you can't say you've been cheated." Zhang Neipao smiled bitterly and said, "When practicing the magic way, it is easiest to go astray because of the 7 emotions and 6 desires, and the desires of men and women are even more serious and can easily affect the mind. The crazy bull patriarch said that when he was young, he almost went astray because of love, so castration is also good for me, which allows me to concentrate on practicing. Anyway, I still have a younger brother to carry on the family line for my family, and in the future, I can also work for Brother Liang without any worries. Girlfriends and the like are all burdens." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.